Baby, I just wanna be alone. I don't need your company, stop blowing up my phone. You don't get the things that I've been through, and I don't have the time to lay it all in front of you. And you think that you wanna save me. You don't know it, baby, why you do this? I got this under control. You think you do, but you really don't know that I don't need a savior. You can't be my savior. I'll save myself. I'll save myself. No, I don't need a savior. You can't be my savior. I'll save myself. I'll save myself. I'll save Baby, I just wanna be alone. I don't need your company, stop blowing up my phone. You don't get the things that I've been through, and I don't have the time to lay it all in front of you. And you think that you wanna save me. You don't know it, baby, why you do this? I got this under control. You think you do, but you really don't know that I don't need a savior. You can't be my savior. I'll save myself. I'll save myself. No, I don't need a savior. You can't be my savior. I'll save myself. I'll save myself.
Welcome in, everyone. It's a wild and wacky Thursday as we get into some NECC action, some Rocket League right on the pitch, ready for you guys to come into. I'm Hail Monkey Man in the booth, alongside one of the coolest captains that you'll ever get to salute. It is Captain Atsoka, and as we get into this one, Atsoka, we will find ourselves in the midst of some banger matchups and some key matchups, especially at the very midpoint of the season.
Yes, it is in fact midpoint of the season, but now we are full swing into spooky season. And I got to tell you, now that we have gotten this far into spooky season, we've gotten this far into the Rocket League season, I got to tell you, I'm feeling a little bit festive. And today I want to play a game, and that game is Rocket League. So I can't wait to get this one underway. Again, we're going to have a lot of good matches here tonight. Particularly, I do have some matches that I'm looking forward to. Cannot wait to get to those. But with that being said, I think I will let the players and the teams speak for themselves as we get ready to get this week underway. Again, ever so much closer to Halloween.
We are 1 week away from all the masks being put on and maybe even coming off, depending on what you've been hiding under there all year long. But as the spooky season comes about, so it's same to be said for some of these teams and their seasons maybe very quickly coming to an end. It's top 4 make playoffs from each of these divisions to be able to get into the big bracket for the fall semester. And we have some squads that don't even have a win yet, looking for their first chance to maybe get one on the board. We have some teams, actually, that have been undefeated, and they're just scared of that perfect season rolling away. So we're gonna get to see what kind of chances do come about. We're gonna start with Division 2 to get things going, as we've got Conestoga College going against St. Clair Saints Gold. We got that matchup, that header for you, as the Condors and the Saints will be rolling live and loud. This one is going to be special, Atsoka. Condors at 3-1, their only loss to a Game 7 against Mount Union Purple. Otherwise, they would be just as perfect as the St. Clair Saints.
Yeah, and you know what? We even said in the pre-show that we were going to have a banger of a night. We got so many great games ahead of us, but let's focus it on this one. Already, we know this is going to be a close game, and I mean, we're going to take a look at these rosters real quick. Coming from the side of the Condors Esports, it will be Chunk 80 and Rushel Y. On the side of the St. Clair Saints, we're going to have Barist, Christian, and Vesh.
Gonna be a wild one. And of course, St. Clair, they have actually a double whammy with us tonight, as they're going to be showcasing not just their D1 but as their D2, but as well as their D1 team. So that middle of the road matchup that has been teased by Atsoka at least once or twice, you're going to have a whole lot of good coming into the middle point of our broadcast tonight. And of course, I spoke of teams that are looking for a chance to maybe get themselves going. Both of these squads in control of their own destinies, Captain. And as we look at the end of the road, it's week number 5. You've got just a few more before we get into the big part of November. And they always say your best games need to be in November, especially if you want to catch momentum and be able to get yourself deep into the playoffs.
Yeah, I can't help but agree. I mean, this is literally one of your last chances to go into the postseason on a positive note. So you really can't afford to make too many mistakes here, because everything that happens here now is really going to hang over you when you go into that postseason. And, that's where you're really going to have to make some late season changes. If you have any areas that you really need to improve on, if there's any issues that you need to address, now is the time. You can't really push it any further than what we are right now. So again, I hope for both of these teams getting ready to go into this matchup that throughout the season they manage to find the areas in which they need to improve, and that they have worked on it, and now they can come as the best potential team that they could possibly be. Because believe you me, when these two teams go head to head, they are not going to be making it easy on one another.
Not at all. And this is going to be a battle of above the border. Who's going to be able to take it home? You've got St. Clair, you've got Conestoga, you've got a best of 7 for both of these squads, and they're already having a little bit of fun in the test lobby just a little bit before. So who's going to be able to catch fire and really run it down? St. Clair's Saints Gold currently have that perfect 4-0. Condors 1 game away from being very much the same. We go to game number 1.
Yeah, and already you can see it's the St. Clair Saints trying to scramble on the defensive side, as that one's going to go on target yet again. But Vesh able to get the save and clear it away. And Condor Esports not wasting any time, just piling on the shot count a little early.
trying to be able to really get some early pressure if they can. And honestly, one of the big things that I'm going to be looking for is kind of consistent midfield play. We've had some teams, they love to run the perimeter and they love to get a bit tricky, but also about keeping pace. I think I was talking with Bear Light just last week about how you can be able to execute and do so very quickly, but then changing it up whenever you see a team kind of diving, getting too aggressive, and finding those moments where you can try and be a bit more kind of cheeky, be able to play more for fakes than otherwise. And so far, things are getting slowed down as St. Clair is really trying to post up in Condor territory.
Yeah, they're pushing closer and closer still, as you can see, going out from the corner. Vesh able to chip this one up, and now a touch goes down, but it will not go in. That was a beautiful save coming from the side of Condor Esports to keep that one out. St. Clair currently looking really dangerous inside of Condor territory.
Trying to just kind of post up there at midfield and onwards. So for the time being right now, Condors are keeping it kosher, keeping it cool, calm, and safe. And everything has come down to small ball. You actually have a rule 1 in the corner between Rushel as well as Barris. So those two are now gone. It turns into a 2v2. Honor the old system there as Chunk is left with no boost. Christian and Vesh trying to be able to get a quick pounce and pass if they can. And now Chunk is just in full reverse. They've actually maneuvered around the two that are in the Rule 1 as the Saints just keep everything locked in for the side of Conestoga.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much, solidified that one does not simply break Rule 1, okay? And you know what? People, they say they believe in the curse. They say they don't. It really doesn't matter. I've seen the curse live in LA, and I've seen it happen. I've seen a team break Rule 1, and then all of a sudden, they go from winning the series to just completely losing it, and it was absolutely devastating. And ever since then, I refuse to break Rule 1. Meanwhile, Vesh refuses to be stopped as they find the first goal for St. Clair.
It felt like it was an eventuality only because they were just running the Condors dry of all that extra boost. And so at this point in time, you know what? Just handshake between both ends, really making a kind of a good forward run of all that extra offense. And if you really look at it, only 4 shots available from the Condors early on, whereas already it's 8, doubling that up on the side of St. Clair Gold. And they pinned in the Condors, had them in the cage, but we're more than halfway in game number 1. Got to kind of reset the pace here.
Yeah, now going right back to the midfield line, you can see the Chunk trying to get by a defender there, gets shut down. A little bit of a double commit coming from St. Clair, as now Vesh looking to try and break some axles will instead leave it for Barist in order to put this one on and in, giving St. Clair a 2-goal cushion.
Whew. That triplicate of touches by Vesh just set it up for just a crusher by Barist as they were able to just dive through. But it wasn't until Vesh had actually been able to just kind of do-si-do and tear up the floor, looking to do it again. Near side pipeline, nearly getting a third in a hurry. And after we've cleared the way and all the small ball has been, said and done here, Captain, we're seeing some banger shots and the Condors just ain't ready for it.
Yeah, speaking of, Christian being able to go bar down, I really don't think the defense was ready for that. My goodness, hitting the sweet spot. There's really nothing more satisfying in Rocket League than, getting that bar down at the end of your shot, because it makes it just pretty much non-blockable at that point. It's all but guaranteed to go in, so it's just so satisfying to get those bar down shots, and I know Christian is feeling pretty good right about now.
Oh, yeah, feeling fantastic. So, as we go into the last 90 seconds, right now, the St. Clair Saints not really been tested on this latter half of the game defensively. Chunk is going to pre-jump from this one, but look how Barris just so smoothly, it feels reclined. They're able to just kind of navigate away. You're leaving an open back third. Chunk is the only one that's able to be there, and it's because 80 was actually caught up being bumped on the outside lane, so there was no support, and this one has quickly gotten away from the Condors.
Yeah, I was actually getting ready to ask because, I'm trying to see what happened there. I'm thinking to myself, where are the homies there for the side of the Condor Esports team? I'm wondering why was no one back? And then, in the replay, I finally was able to see that somebody got bumped. This time, no bumps are needed. Christian, once again, able to take it to the goal for St. Clair.
Yep, just a great give and go find. Christian's able to just make a top level shot, and I mean from distance, St. Clair Gold is just making this one kind of simplified. They've really not had to kind of find themselves too minimized on the forward half of the field. They were kind of up in the corners and up in the bars of the situation against the Condors for the early minute and change. That was very playful, but as soon as everything became business here at Soka, St. Clair really has been able to just run up the numbers, looking for a negative angle. Bears hoping to key up Christian. They're both actually exiting the box, but game number one feels like we're going to be exiting with a massive win in favor of the Saints, as they've really come out to set the tone here early in this best of 7 series.
Yeah, they really have. And right now, if you're Condor Esports, you know, right now, your main focus needs to be getting off of that 0 scorecard. You need to get a goal on the board. You got to say GG, play for next, and just try and get some goals on the board. That way you can break a little bit of momentum going into the next game, because you do not want to go into the next game on a score drought. It is just going to demeanor your momentum, your morale. You have got to go into the next game with a good headset, with a good mindset rather. And you know what? Having a good headset wouldn't hurt either. Just throwing it out there. Couldn't hurt to have a good headset. But right now, Vesh and the rest of St. Clair, they got a good mindset. They got a good headset. And I got to tell you, they have a really good team, as now they get their 6th goal on the board here in game 1.
Whew, that is something to really kind of put on the table. Throwing 6 straight at the Condors and letting them know that they're here to play and here to stay perfect at least. But game number 1 does not a pattern make for a full best of. It's going to take a game number 2 and onward for the Saints to continue to be just ever so dominant. But St. Clair Gold is able to take it first, as Condors will see this one slip right out of their wings.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's a little bit sad to see, but, you know, the stats tell the tale. I mean, you're looking at 16 shots coming from St. Clair, 4 coming from the Condors. And again, I couldn't really catch the save count. I was trying to catch the save count, but towards the end, I want to say it was around maybe 7 saves. I could be wrong. I had to really zone in on it, because clearly my vision is obstructed, so I couldn't get to the numbers. But with that being said, clearly the Condors were having to play a lot of defense. They could not get their offense going at all. It resulted in the shot count. It resulted in the final score. So now going into the next game, what does Condor Esports need to do? They need to get on the other side of the pitch. They need to take control away from their opponent. They need to really slow things down a little bit, instead of, just going for these long clears, going maybe for some of these faster plays that end up in a high turnover rate. Really just slow it down a peg and start, putting a little bit more method to your madness, so that way you can take some of that pressure off of your side and start putting it against your opponent.
That very much is going to be the key to the game, because they basically had no midfield contention. As soon as all those kind of air balls, those giant punts were coming over, they just lost track of them, and you saw so fluidly. I think it was plays like Vesh and Barris were able to just kind of dissect everything that was happening, and it was an open back third. They were bumping them, they were bullying them, and we got to see if Conestoga, if these Condors can be able to fly alongside the Saints. Also, shout out to everyone that was wondering where I went into that chat. They're like, "Where's Monkey Man? Did he die?" I'm like, while I am chained to my seat, because we are in fact playing a game, I'm okay. So everyone, I'm all right. It's okay. I'm right here with you. We go to game number 2. Condors. Hey, got to make sure their wings aren't clipped. Got to get flying.
Condors aren't in this game, only in Rocket League, not your and my game, Monkey Man. At least not yet. Meanwhile, right off the rip, wasting no time, is going to be Barras being able to get a big demo, and 80 going to return the favor. As, my goodness, I mean, the aggression just coming immediately off a kickoff, both teams clashing, getting the demolitions, getting the challenges, and now St. Clair on the attack, nearly getting the first goal within 30 seconds.
So patiently, too. And they can just be able to ramp up that speed. A nice little back pass to hand it off over to Vesh again, who is one of their key playmakers, and just handling and being able to just feed it to anyone that they want to. And even for all the push and for the worth and for the impact that they've made, at least around the perimeter of the Condors net, they haven't been able to get a goal. Surviving this first minute seems to be at least the first concept to be able to get the Condors upfield. Oh boy, Vesh leaves one behind. That was a little uncharacteristic. It leaves 80 with at least an opportunity, but does that go by the wayside? It seems like a clear is going to keep them back.
Yeah, again, St. Clair
Oh,
just
no.
seemed to be completely in control, as this might have been a little bit of goofy goobery pitch, posh poppycock, and just straight up hogwash. That was an oof and an oops and a goofy goob. St. Clair, they're going to take the first goal.
I don't think I've ever heard the main character from Saw say that, but you know what? That's gonna be part of their new voice pack. So the goofy goobers goobing up, especially as that one goes off of a back pass. So unfortunate onto that OG for the Condors. Oh man, trying to immediately intercept. That's gonna draw two. Another chance right now. Christian wants to be able to rotate off on that 45, and Chunk will find a huge chunk to finally get the Condors some greener grasses, but it's so briefly lived. Oh man, Conestoga hoping and praying for an inch of grass that isn't blue.
I mean, my goodness, look at the pace, able to change up on a dime. I mean, St. Clair, they have been like go, 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 all aggression, and then look at the pass from up on high. They didn't even have to get the touch on it, but you know they were there, if need be. And that's the type of discipline you need to see, because again, St. Clair, they had that player up on the wall. They were there to get the touch if they needed, but they saw how it was bouncing off the backboard, and they said, you know what, we don't need to interfere. Let them take the shot, let them get the goal, and just like that, St. Clair Gold now have two.
And the way that Vesh was able to get that one, that was a demoralizing type of shot. They just kind of parked the bus right in front of two, especially off of the pre-jump, I think off of Chunk. So Condors gotta go find themselves at least a challenge that takes it out of the hands of St. Clair. Maybe not a full possession, that'd be fantastic. And this is actually starting to turn into something available. Nice flip reset. 80 is able to get a nice challenge off the top rip, and off the top rope. No! They at least make contact with the crossbar, but now they quickly have to retreat. Chunk finds the ball and at least keeps the St. Clair Saints from making it worse.
Well, here we are. We are at halftime. Great pass play there, coming from 80 to try and get the shot in the redirect on. It was on target, but the defense has held strong. And so far, we have really been seeing St. Clair Gold so accurate with their transitional plays, going from defense to offense and vice versa. And it seems like they haven't missed a rotation. Honestly, I can't remember the last time I've seen a double commit from St. Clair just yet.
No, not really. I mean, even when they have been, they've just been able to quickly recover, and it feels like every single time, even you have two players packed into the same zone, it's so fluidly then adapted into becoming another big passing play. So fantastic work so far by St. Clair by just diminishing and demoralizing this forward hopeful attack out of the Condors. Oh, but that's a giveaway. Chunk is able to find a nice big clear. It will go off the opposite post, and unfortunately for them, that was one of their better looks.
Yeah, it was, but you know, I'll be completely honest. I feel like the recovery would have been there from the Saints regardless, but you're right. You know, they would have had a much better chance. You know, if you put that maybe a couple of picks over to the left, then who knows? That could have sidebarred in, if anything. We've already seen the crossbar down coming from St. Clair Gold. So again, and you know, if you put that shot just a little bit more on target, we could be looking at a 2-1 ball game, Monkey Man.
No, you definitely could be. I mean, we also had that one in the crossbar earlier and really could be finding ourselves into a tied ball game, but the woulda, coulda, shouldas are being left all the way back in the back of the van. And with 1 minute to go, St. Clair has denied and dismayed the Condors of Conestoga. A huge banger off the near side post. A follow-up not to be found, as St. Clair has kind of done the damage necessary, and they've got insurance to go with it. Vesh able to pre-jump and pinch it back. It does give Rushel at least a chance. Chunk, oh, right into the midst of Christian. They're still looking for their first goal.
Yeah, St. Clair is being diabolical right now. And, you know, we're looking at the scorecard. And, you know what, I'm going to cover this a little bit more in the post analytics, right? Whenever we get to the post game, you know, still just under 30 seconds remaining here. But the way that St. Clair is playing is literally no mercy Rocket League. I mean, there have been some opportunities where the Condors Esports teams really had good opportunities. They had good chances to score. And St. Clair simply don't allow it. The only one scoring so far is St. Clair.
Barris basically a barista with the way they served up this extra shot, just quickly handing it off into the forward nose of a defender trying so desperately to get back. You know they wanted that clip. Instead, they had to settle for at least the final challenge. 3-0 in game number 2. St. Clair, not just diabolical, these evil geniuses have definitely been just running the roost, and the Condors looking like every single one of their wings have been picked. Can they find anything walking to game number 3? Because game number 2 in this 2-0 series lead right now will rest with the Saints.
Well, that's the benefit of having the format the way that we do. It's not a best of 3, it's not a best of 5, it's a best of 7. Still plenty of opportunities remaining for Condor Esports to, start to, make a little bit of a comeback. But I got to say, when you're scoring last second goals just to do it, just for funds, right? I mean, it's kind of demoralizing in a way. St. Clair, they, like I had mentioned earlier, just absolutely no mercy.
Yeah, none at all. And also, Vesh got credit for that last goal after it was dished up by a teammate, and it gave him the hat trick while they were bumping 80 on their way downfield. So you could say that St. Clair is doing kind of everything right now. Condors, it's a bit of the opposite side of the card. They've just been unable to find not just challenges, but elongated offensives that really are working. And for some reason, it just feels like they're kind of addressed and staying in the pigeon coop. They've not been able to really kind of run upfield, not without purpose, because they've definitely found at least a couple times where they've gotten a clear, where they've been able to kind of post up for some of those passing plays, but they've not connected with one another. They have connected off the posts, and so far that's not rendered a goal. Gotta find something between the pipes.
Yeah, they really need to start again getting on the other side of the pitch. And granted that they made some improvements there, because again they were able to record, I want to say like 6, 7 shots, something around that area. So again, they're stepping up their offense, but they still are having a hard time finding the back of the net. And this is what I meant that in regulation when I said St. Clair is just playing absolutely diabolical, is because they are literally in the face of the opposition from the very beginning to the very end. Normally you would see like a defense kind of play like a zone type of defense, but right now St. Clair, they are just not letting Condor Esports breathe at all. It feels like they're not even playing on the ball, they're playing on the Condors.
Ooh, oh, peeling back. I like the idea of 80 right there, trying to get at least the tiniest bit tricky. And here's the change up of the game plan. Get physical and also maybe get quirky. Keep it kind of off step, because if St. Clair has been reading you so easily, make it a little bit, the tiniest bit, the smallest percentage more difficult for them to know what you're going to be able to do next. 80, great pickup. They actually sidestep. That's quite the available kind of just rush out, because as soon as they were stepping up, they're able to at least draw that defender. So already Condors starting to look at least an ounce better.
Yep, that they are. They're trying to apply that pressure. But again, correct me if I'm wrong, Monkey Man, I don't think the Condors have scored so far this series. Nope. And if they did, I must have missed it. But, I mean, so far in that last game, St. Clair managed to hold the Condors to 0 goals. So that is huge right now. That is a huge boost of momentum for the St. Clair Saints. And right now for the Condor Esports, I mean, even if, you can't surmise enough of a force to really take, games number 1 or 2, right now your focus needs to be taking at least 1 goal on the board. Take it 1 goal in 1 play at a time.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing St. Clair kind of play as what we kind of call loose, because when you tighten up, you have very kind of strict rotations, and you end up just not being able to kind of play to that same level of creativity that we know Rocket League players can really be at. And whereas these guys are all over each other, the opposite team, they're really just kind of stuffing any of these open lanes. This is going to be a dangerous drop down. 80's hoping to track with it. Wicket, oh my, right off of the near side post. Chunk takes at least a whole bunch of the hexagon from that lower side, but they are unable to bend it in and around. So again, unfortunate. Condors have been unable to find their first one, still scoreless through these 3, and the first 2 minutes are about to elapse.
Yeah, and hopefully not attempting to cast curse anything here. But with that being said, 2 minutes are gone, and at least the Condors have, they haven't scored themselves, but at least they have held St. Clair out of their net. It's still 0-0. This is still an even ball game. So far, as far as the time is concerned in this game here in game number 3, I stand corrected, because I knew it was going to happen. Couldn't even finish my thought. I was going to say at least the Condor Esports have managed to hold St. Clair to 0, which is an improvement from their last games. But now I stand corrected by the St. Clair Saints.
I mean, they're making it further and further and further into the game before St. Clair is able to ultimately find that initial lead. And I mean, this is them stepping up to the plate, trying to be able to heighten the pace at which they're executing, and also then making reads against St. Clair. Now in a one-on-one, Chunk trying to be able to find their first one, and Christian has been so dynamic, such a brutal beast out here on the pitch, keeping the Condors from finding much. Rushel, maybe another, but they fill 2 in the top corner to make sure they do not get one through.
Oh my goodness, St. Clair. I mean, again, just the definition of zero chill. I mean, you would think so, like, because again, they're playing very relaxed. I think they're in the right mind. They are playing, pretty much like with ice in the veins. There's no hint of panic, no hesitation, and it's really boding well for them. But my goodness, I mean, they have just been on an absolute tear, and with Barris now getting the second goal of Game 3, they just show no signs of slowing down.
No reason to otherwise, too. Chunk trying to be able to fly as immediately as they can into that deep defensive box, but even so, no one there to answer the call of a large, booming, bounding ball as it just runs its way out. And already playing for some of these possession kickoffs. Christian from Vesh. Barris already pre-jumping. You have 3 Saints all flying at you in V formation. What a scary thing to see.
And now still you're looking at that 2-0 lead in the favor of St. Clair with just a minute and 35 remaining. As now they look to get their third, a slow hopper on target. Gets deflected and cleared the way by the Chunk. And now 50-50 going to go up high. Barris now, opportunity, gets past one defender. Can't get past the other, but they center the ball and no one from St. Clair to follow up until Christian is going to force that one in.
Just forcing the issue. Embarrassed. What a nice little drop down. Russell was hoping to be able to get something, but just an absolute bodying moment by Barris. They had initially started the attack, and they're making sure that some level of value comes through it, and that's exactly what St. Clair's offense has been all about. First attack, first initiation, never going left without something of dividend from that at least push, and finally, Chunk, by a matter of all saints flying by, is able to get the first goal here for the Condors.
All right, so now the job has been done. We managed to break the score drought. It took us all the way to get to Game 3, but we finally got there. Now, maybe some gears start turning. Maybe now things can sway a little bit more into the favor of Condor Esports. They were able to get on the board. They felt a little bit of success. Let's see if, for them, they can start really capitalizing on some other opportunities similar to the ones that we just saw.
Go into the last minute of game number 3. And if there was ever a hole to be digging your way out of, it's definitely not a 3-0 when it's a best of 7. That is a long path to nowhere. And you know what? You got that first monkey off the back in terms of being scoreless, especially if you end up having the perfect sweep in a best of 7. That is a large moniker to have to hang onto your head. 30 seconds to go. You have 2. No, make it 3 in a 3v2, trying to be able to just rush it upfield, but that one goes off the sidewall and a nice redirect on target. The dig will be found by Russell. They've got to score quickly.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't want to say that it's too far gone because it's not, but I mean, we're out of the realm of probability and now looking at possibility. Is it possible? I don't even think it's possible anymore at this point. 5 seconds left. St. Clair Gold, I think it's safe to say, are going to be taking game number 3, putting themselves onto match point as the final second ticks away as we pay tribute to Rule 0, trying to keep the ball alive. Going off the backboard, dropping it down and in. Boris, you didn't need to do it, but you did it anyway.
You know what? I'll do it myself. And immediately dropping it down past 3 separate cars, one inclusive of their own teammate. Cold as ice. No need to sacrifice on that final goal opportunity. So St. Clair will keep up their winning ways, and they'll go on to match point within the first 3. Wow, only allowing 1 goal even off of the 8 shots. They're finally allowing the Condors to have more flight patterns downfield, but even so here, Captain, feels like we're just unable to see Condors take that early lead. Condors have to get the first score in this next game if I'm to really, truly be a believer. But, I mean, there's a long path to go if you're going to reverse sweep a best of 7.
Yeah, honestly, again, that's quite the hole to dig yourself out of. And if there's anything that I know, it's trapping people in holes, okay? But with that being said, right now it's still within the realm of possibility. Is it in the realm of probability? No, but it's still definitely possible. As, we get to see something rather beautiful on the side of Hail Monkey Man there. A great pair of googly moogly eyes and a jaw of dentures That is quite an adorable figurine right there, Monkey Man.
This is, you know what? This is the guy that controls the digital universe. So, you know, if there's
did not
ever
know
anyone
that.
that you want to free you from your own bit of torture, maybe it's this guy right here. So we'll get to see if Kane can help out. Hello, he's waving at you. We'll see if maybe if Kane and the gang can help out the Condors, because right now it's all St. Clair Saints gold all the ding dang time. Condors, one game at a time. That's what they got to tell themselves. But wow, one goal at a time. They're going to rack and stack. Vesh scores first.
I don't even know if this team can be stopped anymore. I mean, clearly they are just on one tonight. I don't know what's happening. They must have woken up, eaten their Wheaties. I don't know. Maybe they decided that they're going to go with fiber internet. Something. They did something today because they have just been on another level. And you know what? I've always been, you know, pretty observant of the Saints. Like, again, they are a namesake in, you know, Collegiate Rocket League. They have been around the block, you know, a great esports organization, but even still, they are playing, outdoing themselves. And now the Condors, for the first time in the series, able to equalize early against St. Clair.
That's massive, considering that they have always taken their sweet time being able to get downfield, but finally, one that was just kind of a one-touch rush from the opposite side post, and then just kind of keeping track and crashing the gate. Let chances roll, and the same thing the other way. It's a scoring fest, 3 goals in 21 seconds.
I mean, why not? You know, it's Halloween season. We might as well be in for a little bit of a treat, and a high-scoring game might just be that. I mean, so far, I mean, 3 goals in a matter of, I mean, what was it, 21 seconds? I mean, my goodness. This game 4 could potentially be the most high-scoring game in the series. I mean, so far, still plenty of time left to go. 4 minutes and 30, and already you can see St. Clair looking for another one.
Yeah, the 7-second average now has passed, which is about the same average you get off of any kickoff goal. So St. Clair trying to see if they can answer back a 1-for-2 ski sort of situation. They hit both to the backboard, and Vesh is just parked here looking for an upside-down redirect from the own backboard of the Condors. So just enough to just now be looking for style, but immediately as Russell takes up a posted position in the middle of that opposite side wall, they were looking for a chance to just send it over to Chunk. It was very fast. The first minute finally comes and goes, and the chaos, well, it's still rolling on up.
Yeah, that it is. Meanwhile, St. Clair still holding on to that 1-goal lead. And this is the place where they like to be. They like being in the lead. I don't think we have seen Concord, you know, take a lead yet, unless I'm mistaken. Again, my memory is absolutely horrific. But with that being said, it looks as though St. Clair were looking for another goal, but they get denied by the Chunk. It is now St. Clair will once again regain possession.
Yeah, Conestoga is still looking for a chance to get ahead of St. Clair. They were able to get that tying goal, which was kind of the first of its kind here, at least in the first 4 games. And the 4th one could be the ultimate one if we end up seeing a series sweep right now by St. Clair. Oh, no. That's a massive boom the other direction. You had a Saint posted up on defense, and this one was a cannon shot the opposite way.
Now, you see, I'm a firm believer that every play in Rocket League is calculated. But even for me, that's tough. Like, you know, that just literally fell into place, didn't it? I mean, my goodness. I mean, it just seems that St. Clair, you know, rather it be, you know, just overall skill, which they definitely had, or in this case, you know, spontaneous, fortunate events, St. Clair, they just refused to be denied.
Yeah, just all in, all the time. Christian already on the pre-jump. Vesh just combining with him like Voltron, and then gets the musty because they just have to fall into it. St. Clair Saints, just Cirque du Soleil. You wanted some spooky times. Well, they are the ghosts that are trapped in your attic, and they're just absolutely haunting the likes of the Condors. Can they be able to find one? Russia will get it back. That's a first. They're able to grab 2.
I mean, there we go. And like we had stated earlier, you know, this has the making for like the highest scoring game of the series, and the Condors finally answering back in a major way. They get 2 goals on the board. They cut the lead of St. Clair in half, and they still have plenty of time. They got 3 minutes left on the board. You know, we have seen greater distances traveled within that same amount of time. We have seen greater deficits overcome. So the Condors, as far as I'm concerned, are still very much in this game 4.
They're as in it as I am, but I feel like they can't just be a spectator to the possibility and the concept. Russell, I think, went over to give a kiss to Barrist as they were just kind of parked on the outside of the box. So St. Clair sending 2, leaving 1 back, and seeing how that one works out for them. And the Condors at least trying to take advantage while they can. To the backboard, Christian with a free look, can adjust in time. be able to put that noodle-shaped car onto the ball. And we're finally over the midway mark of game number 4. With all the extra scoring, it takes extra time. And Russell does find the third, and they'll make it just a 1-point ball game.
Well, here we go. I mean, you're looking at the chunk there. They were able to get that 50 out of the corner and just dropped right on top of the net for Russell to put that one on and in. And now the Condors within 1 of being able to equalize in the second half of regulation.
That would be wild to be able to at least get tied up with the Saints twice, considering what's been happening with them for the previous 3 games. Now, are the St. Clair's Saints Gold playing with their food? Possibly. But that's still something you can take advantage of, especially in Rocket League. You play loose, and suddenly gaps open up. Christian hoping to get a passing play as they just arc over the top back net of the Condors. And St. Clair is kind of playing with that midfield contention. And look how the Condors are starting to really make some of these challenges really tight diagonals to keep the Saints honest.
And now you can see the Condors going off the backboard there. St. Clair able to get the touch out towards the corner. And now going the other way. Big demo onto Vesh from 80, but still St. Clair looking to put the pressure onto the Condors as now Chunk will get 50'd out back towards the mid as 80 will be there to answer the call, taking this one up high and going back to the St. Clair side.
Ooh, booming clear from backward and onward. 80 seconds to go. Condors, oh, what a beat. Christian on that extra pre-jump. It's not as far and down in distance as the previous post pinch was, but just able to get right on top of Russell before they can take advantage of a possession, and that'll make it another 2-goal lead with 75 seconds remaining.
Yep, looking good for St. Clair. I mean, again, they have just been looking good all series long. It just cannot be denied. 1:15 left to go. Still doable for the Condor Esports. I mean, again, you're over a minute. Still doable. We have seen them, get goals on the board now, so more than ever. They got 3 goals on the board. They're looking a lot better. The offense is flowing a little bit better, and they're finding opportunities, and they're putting shots on target. Now, they just really have to battle against the clock to try and find these openings, before time expires, or St. Clair, they're going to be walking away with a 4-0 sweep.
Yeah, it's feeling like this is definitely one of, if not the team to beat, not just in this division, but also kind of D2 overall. They're going to be in that top 4, but a nice little takeaway by the Chunk, as they're trying to turn this at least into a team total of 10 goals across both sides. Nice little pickup. No one saw Chunk lurking there in the midfield. So with 40 seconds up, they could be able to tie this one late. Just depends on what St. Clair Saints leave behind.
They definitely can. 40 seconds left to go. Let's see if Condors Esports has what it takes to try and equalize and even possibly send us into our first overtime of the day, as Vesh will get the touch in the mid, looking to find the second, but no, Russia will get there first. And now Christian going to take a turn, just keeping the ball out of possession of Russell, causing a little bit of confusion there as it looked like they were heading towards their own net. And now Russell will take advantage and find the equalizer with 16 seconds to go.
Chunk just putting one in between 3 separate Saints and no one separating, especially until Russell came screaming in from the outer side of the box. Christian just kind of hands on hips, realizing, okay, let's get to work. 5-5, and a couple demos exchanged at midfield right at the crosshair. We have 10 seconds remaining at Soka. Someone got to take in regulation, or we going OT?
I mean, still time on the clock, and we have already seen the St. Clair Saints get 2 0-second goals, but not this time. We're going to be heading to our first overtime of the series, our first overtime of the night, and now that clock is going to begin to tick upward.
Couple of demos again to start things off on this most recent exchange. A big bump by 80, and Vesh forcing Chunk up there. Oh, just off the post, and another one goes through. Would you believe it? Condors stay alive, and we go game 5.
Well, there we go. That's the answer back we've been waiting for from the Condor Esports team. And you know what? I mean, kudos to them and their perseverance, because again, they were down like 2 goals, and I want to say with just about like 40 seconds remaining, give or take, and then they managed to find the equalizer. They find the first initial goal, and then they find the equalizer, and then they go on the win in OT. And now we get a chance to take a look at the stats here. You're looking at 11 shots for the Condors, and then on the other side, you're looking at about 10 shots coming from St. Clair Gold. And even with the, you're looking, it's only like a 1-goal difference, but when you look at the save count, you're looking at a 2 save difference. Again, like the stats aren't too far off from one another, which I think explains why the game itself was so close.
Yeah, but both these teams have been kind of, I want to say neck and neck, at least for that previous game. We have seen Condors able to at least kind of stand up to the mark and to the challenge. And I think one thing that definitely was left behind, they decided to just kind of go all out. There was not a lot of defensive answer when it came to the 10 shots posted up by the Saints. They had 3 saves. That means everything else was just kind of rocking and rolling through. It was going to be just on the round of the perimeter. They got Russell involved to be much more offensively minded, and they had everyone basically kind of trolling across that midfield line. It gave a lot more chances for them, and they at least created some discomfort. We did get to see some playfulness out of St. Clair. So did that simply create that issue? Leave it behind? I think if they drop a game, they're not going to be too nonplussed about it. They're going to be able to just kind of come out and get business done. But is that the only game? Does another one get found in the favor of the Condors? We go game 5.
I mean, if there's anything that we learned from the previous game is that the Condors can take a dub. So yes, by all means, they could definitely find another one. And, you know, they've already done the hard part. You know, they managed to get their first win on the board. But with that being said, is it too little too late in the series? I mean, it's still a 2-game lead for St. Clair. And it's really going to be up to them, you know, whether or not they could come through and stop St. Clair again for the second time in a row. Again, you know, when you're looking at a series, a best-of-7 series, can you take the series? Yeah, sure. But when you put yourselves in a 3-0 deficit, you have to surmount amount of mental fortitude to come through with a reverse sweep. You know, that's a lot harder than just coming into a best-of-7. But so far, St. Clair, they're going to find the first goal once again in their favor.
Yeah, and everyone always likes to say it's an easy coaching kind of concept, just one game at a time. If you're that low and nearly down and out, well, you're not completely out. You just got to be able to take it each and every single 5 minutes as it's chunked out for you per game. Now, if you're able to do that, well, you got a great mindset and a good bit of resiliency. I love the pre-jump. A chunk is able to chunk it over. And I was thinking that this was going to be a lower scoring game. I thought we had 11 goals in the previous game. I guess we were trying to match that very quickly.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, being able to come through off the kickoff, I mean, just being able to, you know, equalize very, very quickly. Condor Esports clearly are stepping their game up offensively, because that was one of the issues that they had in the first 3 series, is that they were getting annihilated on the shot count. Now, between the last game and this game here, you can see that the shot count is becoming closer and closer still. And now Condors, they're being a lot more aggressive here in the late half of the series.
They're finding value out of the rotations too. I think there was too many times in the previous 3 games that we had, I think, players like Chunk that they'd rotate at midfield, and then there was nothing that they were getting from kind of their touches. They were unable to get nothing more than being just basically deuced as the ball was taken around them. Christian, much more responsible because of those, as they've been able to at least get some extra push upfield to give his Saints some extra space. Christian trying to feed it over to at least one of his teammates as Barris takes a shot. It will fling wide. Chunk doing the same thing as they get a demo midair onto Vesh, which is basically the key player for success for the Saints, and they're got to rely on them off the respawn rip to get themselves back in order.
Well, here we are, still 1-1, just over 3 minutes remaining. And it has just been an absolute back and forth. And, you know, again, we were seeing the Condor Esports side really step their game up as St. Clair look to find their second here, trying to drop this one in off the Musty, but Christian will come and play cleanup off of the pass from Vesh.
Nice flip reset just to be able to get everyone delayed, and both Russell and teammate with them. I think that was 80. Yes, they end up on top of each other, and so they double commit onto the single shooter. I mean, I'm gonna give him a lot of credit, because that's Vesh right there. Vesh has been doing so much work for St. Clair. Why wouldn't you send at least a couple to try and stop them? But it ends up trapping themselves at the near side post, and because of that, there was no one available to jump up high enough and quick enough to take away that next shot opportunity. Chunk, they got someone to fill in the gap. 80 across the way, and Russell to get it in, but no, it's 80 from off the near side angle. We're tied again.
Well, this is what you want to see here when you're talking about a game 6, you know, potentially going into a game 7. You want to see that neck and neck race, and now we're tied at 2, just over the halftime mark here in game 6. I mean, right now we are seeing the Condor Esports really wake up. Granted, it's in, you know, the latter half of the series, but I guess it's better late than never.
Quick shot opportunity. I thought they were going to be able to land that on target with as swiftly as they were executing. Same thing is happening right now for the Condors. Much more confidence, because they've really been able to open up those chances. And that's a freebie For the first time, sans OT, we have Condors on top in regulation. What a push-up, and neither player for the Saints able to make that grab from the backboard.
And you see, that's what happens when you get out of your own half and you really start applying that pressure and you're just putting shots on target. Like, you don't have to worry about most of the time whether or not it's going to go in. You just have to force the defense to make mistakes, force them to jump for the ball, force them to try and make saves, because then you're going to force them out of position. And that's what the Condor Esports team did on the last play. They were able to put the shot on and they forced the double commit and were able to capitalize on the rebound.
We'll drop in, though. It's just another in the bucket for the amount of goals that we've seen out of the Saints, as we're, again, just at a stalemate. Nice extra effort by Christian, who continues to astound and impress me with the way that they're able to just handle everything possession and pressure-wise against the Condors. A nice little dip. They make two defenders trip. And maybe again from the kickoff rip. See if they can find one extra. Cannot get the dunk. The putback shot denied by Russell.
Just over a minute and 40 remaining. And we have ourselves a tie ball game. 3 apiece. And now the tiebreaker is on target, but it's going to kiss the crossbar and not go in. And my goodness, I love the amount of aggression now coming out from Condor Esports. They have really stepped their game up. It's like we're watching a different team.
Yeah, this is a squad that was really pushed into the cage, not allowed to move, and that's not the way the Condors Esports wants to play. They want to get involved. To the backboard, a screamer by Vesh, but that's all it's going to do is make sound as it whistles on by. Less than 70 seconds to go. Got to watch out. Got to make sure your defense is there. Chunk gets a piece of it. That's all you need to do if you're Condors, but you also need to find a goal to be able to keep this one in your back half. With that final minute of play, Captain Atsoka, St. Clair Saints are bearing down upon the Condors, and they're aiming this side of St. Clair to maintain possession.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, St. Clair, they've been playing a little bit dangerous, right? I feel like a couple of times they were caught too far up inside of enemy territory, and they left their net vulnerable. And Condor Esports, they were able to capitalize on it. St. Clair playing a little bit of high risk, high reward, as this time it will be the reward that comes through for St. Clair.
Gonna need a hero moment from the Condors, as Barris just simply stuck in the right place at the right time. They had Vesh in their back pocket just in case that one didn't work out, but a nice find around the rotation of the Condors as they were so desperately aiming to get out of the back half. Oh, a fakey, trying to be able to get through. Who wants possession last as they both aim for the Spanish? Less than a half minute to go. Captain Atsoka, St. Clair trying to finish this off.
Yep, that they are. And once again, you could see that double commit. However, I think that one was calculated. I think they were going for like a little bit of a cheeky pinch there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we saw the fake kickoff. So now they're going to try and pull out a couple of trick plays there on the St. Clair side as they are able to hold off the aggression. If they can just hold it off for another 5 seconds, they can find themselves with a series win here tonight as the final seconds will tick away. The clock hits 0 as this one's going to go above the net of the Condor Esports. It will finally hit the dirt, and St. Clair will take the series.
They will continue their perfect season record on the side of St. Clair Saints Gold as they will walk in. I think they're now, what, 5-0, 6-0? There's something in O, which means they have a perfect win column. And you know what? They're looking really good. 5-0 in the first 5 weeks of NECC action. So they got a lot more to go to really kind of finalize where they're going to stand. And I think the only other team that's in the same division with them that is undefeated is Landers. So get to see how they end up on that other end. But, I mean... that's a very dead jigsaw right there. So looking at what we got out of the Condors, was it all of what the Saints kind of left behind? Did they find some kind of last minute kind of efforts for themselves? What was that game 4 into game 5?
I mean, pretty much what we saw was the Condor Esports team finally waking up. It seemed as though, and you know what, I have to agree with you, you know, in the earlier game when we're looking at game number 4, it did seem as though that the St. Clair team was kind of playing with their food a little bit, and you know what, they were able to give a game away. They knew that they had a 3-0 lead overall in the series. They knew they can get away with a game, and you know what, no harm, no foul. But at the same time, you know, I'm kind of in the persuasion that you really shouldn't play with your food at all, because again, you never know. All it's going to take is one game to give all the momentum away to your opposition, and then all of a sudden they decide to wake up and then they're coming to play. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what we saw. It almost happened again in game 5. The Condor Esports team, they woke up in a major way. They started playing so much better, and unfortunately for them, it really was just too little, too late. Because again, it really did seem as though from game number 1 to game number 5, it was like 2 different Condor Esports teams that we saw on the field.
Well, you know what? In case you guys want to see even more Saints action, we're about to have double the Saints action. It is a double whammy because not only will we be having St. Clair Saints Green joining us, we're also going to have Maryville as a Division 1 matchup will be up right after this break. Make sure not to go too far as more NECC Rocket League action will be back in just a moment.
What exactly is a meat substitute or plant-based jerky? Call me a meathead, but when I want a meat snack, I want real meat. The kind you find at Wenzel's Farm and the only kind they use. Handcrafted in small batches and naturally hardwood smoked right here in the heartland of America. Wenzel's Farm offers 14 flavors of mouth-watering protein-packed power in a stick, except no substitute. Wenzel's Farm, real meat for real life.
Oh man, this is incredible.
Oh, wow.
Huh?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Hey man, grab me a meat stick. I think I can reach it if I just a little more. Just let me go a little. I can't. Just a little more. I almost got it. Careful! Oh God! No, come on, just reach. Reach. Just grab my hand. I can't hold it. Grab my hand.
Give me the meat stick. This other hand's closer. The one with the stick is... Oh!
So what you gonna do? And I can't stop thinking about you, but what you gonna do? And you know I'm feeling good like that. So what you gonna do? And I can't stop thinking about you, but what you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Welcome in, everyone. In case you missed us, we're live, loud, and we're already getting into it. A Division 1 matchup tonight between St. Clair Green and Maryville University. Again, I'm Hail Monkey Man in the booth alongside the dearest of Captain and Soka, as we already have Game 1 being won by Maryville as they took it off screen, but now we get into it as the Saints face the Saints.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, these two teams were clearly very excited to get the game started because they couldn't even wait for us. You know, they couldn't wait for the rest of the class to join in, right? So yeah, it is actually Maryville that's gonna be taking the early lead over St. Clair, and now looking to take the lead here in Game 2 as they nearly find the opening goal.
Yeah, St. Clair Green, they actually just got a 4-1 win over Akron Gold, and then Maryville got a Game 7 win over Northwood Blue. That's pretty telling here at Soka as to how powerful this squad is of speed, relating wave, as well as Knight. So now this squad trying to be able to make it a 2-0. Both sides want to be able to do it, and bigger, badder brothers of St. Clair Green, seeing if they can be able to match up with their younger brothers of St. Clair Gold.
Yeah, and just a friendly reminder for these two teams, you know, Maryville University in Division 1 currently sitting 2-0 in their record. St. Clair Saints 3-0. So both teams vying to keep a hold of their undefeated record here so far this season.
Yeah, and that actually get a +1 to both of those, 3-0 and 4-0, considering the most recent wins that they just got at that 7 o'clock hour. So trying to add into that. So one squad will be undefeated, another one will have a blemish, a baguette into the loser column. Regardless, that's gonna be a triple commit as Relating Wave goes chasing after it. No real threat. Shuffleverse trying to get back and around, and Speed acquires some boost, which was sorely lacking for the Saints of Maryville as they've been staying all the way back by St. Clair Green, even with that pushing attack, unable to break through.
And now the counterattack from Maryville underway as they continue to center the ball over and over and over again. And now another shot goes on, but it will not go in. As you can see, Fobso able to get the save and clear it away. Now goes up high. Not going to be able to get the follow-up touches. This clear is going to be going all the way back and nearly finds the goal, if not for Shuffle Reverse.
Yep, they had to find them. Yeah, it's that new meta quest. I don't know, something about living in the AI world or something. Either way, they shuffle around and they quickly wave dash, and then they get a tumbler. Oh no, a fumbler instead. Jazzy with an opportunity. Shuffleverse trying to rise to the occasion as Fabzo will bail out, give it back to Jazzy, but that was the go-ahead goal. They kind of just got too many nerves at the near side post, and we should have a first goal there for the Saints of St. Clair.
Well, here we are, still 0-0. Only 2 minutes remaining. Jazzy tries to go up high. He's going to get 50'd out. Now Fobso going back towards that midfield line, able to continue the pressure. Big demo onto Speed. Is now Speed. Oh my goodness, barely to avoid the danger there as the demos are just trading back and forth, and neither side still not able to find the back of the net as we are just locked in a stalemate.
Which is good to see, because when we look at what happened in game number 1, we didn't get to see it live and online, but it went 1-3 in favor of Maryville. So seeing if you know, the St. Clair Saints Green squad is able to get a game and force us into a best-of-5 territory, because otherwise Maryville is going to get into a 2-0 position, and that's when they really start running with confidence. A lot of domination, but it's been not dominant on either end. We've had these just kind of shortcomings on defense, maybe a loft over, and defense that is answering the call, and another one found here, save after save by St. Clair.
Just over a minute remaining, and my goodness, Maryville nearly find the answer as both of these teams just keep inching closer and closer towards the back of the net. Less than a minute to go, and if this defense keeps up from both sides, we very well could see overtime as the save count keeps skyrocketing.
Jazzy holding to that backboard, recognizing that they have all the boost on their team. Fabso as well as Shuffleverse having to just kind of stay on the ground. Finally, it's just a turn off of the near side post again. St. Clair surviving, possibly thriving. Speed is going to aim to at least bait up one. Jazzy will answer the call, trying to turn it right back in. They're going to steal that back corner boost. Relating Wave has plenty, trying to feed it over to Knight. And then Speed, it's a 3v2, now a forward man rush, as Fabso wants to at least find a loose hanging ball. Knight off the flip reset, and they find one extra. Look how they're just aiming to get rid of Jazzy from that back corner, but that all could just come to roost against Maryville. Going backboard, looking for the dive. Speed keeps it off from the corner. Jazzy from the ceiling. They're trying to key up at least one last attack. They tip it on the nose, and this has gotten anywhere but profitable for St. Clair. Maryville, now in these last waning moments, will keep them at arm's reach.
Well, here we go. We got ourselves overtime, the first in the series, but not the first of the night. As you can see, Speed is going to start things off here off the kickoff, looking for the pitch, and the follow-up from Relating Wave is good.
8 seconds. That's all it took. After a full 5-minute entourage of non-stop offense, but defense that never gave, 8 seconds is when you eventually cut them down. St. Clair let one go, and that's a 2-0 lead now for Maryville.
Yeah, this is looking rather dangerous.
Wow.
And I got to tell you, the stats are not surprising. Throughout the entirety of regulations, this is exactly what it looked like. It just looked as though Maryville was just laying on the shot count, total of 13 shots. And then you look at the other side for St. Clair, it was literally all defense. They came away with 3 shots of their own, but that is a 10-shot disparity. It's simply too huge. And with that being said, they did manage to recover 9 saves. That is absolutely ridiculous. And yes, I am Leatherface now. I am a man of many faces, as you can see. As we can see, that Maryville is a team of many shots.
That's true. I thought you were just you had a new exfoliating routine or something, just kind of really. So either way,
charcoal burn right around here.
Yeah, I heard there's a mask for that you could be able to put, I guess, on a mask. I don't know. I'll recommend it to you later. But either way, we go to game number 3, and Maryville is looking at least pretty strong, considering that they obviously were at a +10 differential in terms of shots. You had 3 saves apiece, only 4 or so that left unanswered around the back bars, and St. Clair, obviously, their work is cut out for them, but it's not like they weren't putting up opportunities at least nearby. Maryville was able to just stuff them at the perimeter before they were turned into true lethal chances. Speed will cut that one short. Shuffleverse, I want to see them get back up to speed, because that truly was when St. Clair Green looked the most dangerous.
Well, they're going to have another opportunity, but they're going to have to flip the switch. They're really going to have to come alive, because you're looking at that 2-0 deficit in the series, and we've already seen what happens when you fall early. We've seen it in the previous series. St. Clair, they managed to take a 3-series lead, and unfortunately for the Condors, they just could not come back from that far of a deficit. So I know St. Clair Green is not going to want to fall 3-0 against Maryville. They have really got to try and take a win on the board here and now.
Especially a Maryville that was able to just go and beat Northwood Blue. Obviously, 2 of the top contending teams here in Division 1 for all of NECC, let alone probably the entirety of CRL as it stands. So St. Clair Saints, they would love to at least get this first game on the board. But again, it was a long-standing 5-minute just kind of blitz of both sides having to be defensively strong, especially the likes of St. Clair. Speed is going to take this possession, run away with it from over the arc. Fabzo trying to track with him, but instead that's Knight that catches it very early, looking for a 50-50. Shuffleverse will find a big booming clear as they try to aim on the back end of Relating Wave, but Relating Wave very sound as they just move up into this midfield, and it looks like Maryville is starting to steal space from the Saints.
Yeah, right now Maryville, they're just inching closer and closer, which is very reminiscent of the very first 2 games, right? I mean, Maryville's, it seems as though they play the long game. You know what I mean? Like, they start out, from their own half, and then they inch closer and closer and closer. And I got to tell you, it's that long game that's been working for them. The pacing has been, in their favor. They just always seem in control, even when they're inside of their own half.
Yeah, they never really have an ounce of panic. And even at the highest tier of Rocket League and Collegiate, they just feel like they're just so cool, calm, and controlled. Trying to just aim to be a little bit of a nuisance. Speed ends up assisting for the opposite side. So both ends of this pitch just kind of getting contested. Maryville University trying to keep that composure. St. Clair just aims to go man-on-man at times. Shuffleverse on top of Jazzy, and Jazzy getting involved in this again, as I feel like they had a few extra shots on the front end of Jazzy. This is going to be right at the crossbar. Fabzo couldn't be able to squeeze it underneath that face, one they desperately needed so desperately.
Oh my, I mean, I don't know how much longer, you know, I could take this stalemate. We're already past half of regulation, about to be in that 2-minute area, and we are still just 0-0, an absolute stalemate. And again, a lot of these games have been decided, I think, in the second half of regulation. It seems as though like one of these teams is going to run out of juice, and it is going to be Maryville that is going to get scored on first. St. Clair able to take a lead here in the second half.
It was one last attacker that ended up transitioning up while the first two had already positioned in a very aggressive stance from Maryville's half. One good find, and it's turned all the way upfield. So, a lead for the Saints, the first that we've seen of it. I don't believe they had one in game number 1, considering that did go 1-3, and then the other one was all of zeros across the board until 8 seconds of overtime. So now Maryville looking for an answer, but this is exactly what you want to see if you are St. Clair. Also, the link up by Maryville hits every part of the woodwork.
I'm not gonna lie, that play was pretty. I mean, that it looked like it was going in. Like, that's the play that goes in, but you know, that it just goes to show what, you know, just a few pixels to the left or to the right can really be a difference maker. I mean, you put that one a couple of pixels more to the left, and all of a sudden you got yourselves a tie ball game. Maryville again getting ever so closer and closer, and if St. Clair really don't stop interrupting these passes, we're gonna see ourselves in a tie ball game.
Very much could. I mean, they've been linking up so well. Oh, this one could be pretty. An individual play as Relating Wave just doesn't leave the box. Knight knows they have a lot of boost, but they're going to get challenged. Fabso and the gang, St. Clair, just even if they don't get full hands on the rock and full control, they want to make sure that Maryville doesn't have the same thing either. So 45 seconds remaining. St. Clair, Shuffleverse with a big demo, gets rid of Knight, who has been such a nuisance for them to get around, and hoping to be able to redirect it. Oh, Speed is already pre-jumped. That's going to be a big bouncer over the midfield line. Relating Wave and Speed, everyone just burning through what's left of their boost tanks. Relating Wave with a chance, but that demo on tonight kills the chance.
Yeah, that demo was huge. That might have saved the play, to be completely honest, because again, they were in the paint of St. Clair as they continue to hold on to this 1-goal lead. Just over 15 seconds left to go, and St. Clair could find themselves a win here in game 3 as they continue to hold on to this lead. The final 10 seconds now beginning to tick away as Relating Wave is going to share the sugar back towards the mid, and now Fabso able to clear the ball out of their half. The final second ticks away, and that will do it. Jazzy to score the final goal, and now St. Clair are on the board.
An exclamation point to end it out. It was just getting physical, being an immediate tracking shadow onto each of the players of Maryville, and really those demos played heavy-handed into the success of St. Clair going to this game. And they got, what was it, 3 shots in the first game. They added 2 to the total, and still on the dominant feature side of that is Maryville with 9, but it was definitely the saves that kept them just long and strong. Shuffleverse, I had called them out as the player we needed to really show up. They come with 5 of those 6 saves for the side of St. Clair to now get them in this ball game.
And you know what? Once again, we are seeing like the two sides of that defensive type of play style. In the first game, you're looking at 9 saves. Unfortunately, they couldn't get the job done on offense. This time, you're seeing a hefty amount of saves as well, but this time they're hitting on offense. They're finding their stride. They're able to get 2 goals on the board, and they are able to take the dub. The question is, can they keep that up? And are they going to decide to change their play style? Because clearly they're playing the heavy defense. Game number 1, it didn't work. Game number 2, it did. But at what point are we expecting Maryville to catch on to what they're doing? You know, they're, again, clearly focusing a lot on that defense. Is that strategy going to continue to pay off? And you have to keep in mind that, yes, it did manage to work this game, but it didn't work the previous 2. They're still down 1 in the series. So with that being said, you know, I really think St. Clair need to switch up their play style before it's too late.
If we take away the one last-second goal by St. Clair, you have all of a 1-0. Jazzy adds to that total very quickly, but these have been limiting the damage style ball games out of St. Clair. And Speed, they had to park because they were looking at their own net. Jazzy taking advantage of the pinch.
Yeah, I mean, that right there, I absolutely love that. They literally just took their time, and they waited for, the opportunity. They knew the defense was going to come in, but then they were able to predict the 50-50. They were able to predict the defense and then turn it into a goal. So well done being able to capitalize on what was pretty much a gimme goal off the kickoff. You really cannot afford to let those go down and by the wayside. I mean, Monkey Man, how many times have we seen opportunities like that just get absolutely shut down and wasted?
Yeah, honestly, that's something that you cannot squander, especially when these have been 1-point ball games. And I mean, maybe all of a single goal scored between anyone. Maryville, they'd had the multiple goals with 3-1 in game number 1, but since then it has been a very tight style of play. And you were talking about, can you persist and last when it comes to just defensive efforts? And I mean, honestly, the way that St. Clair is being able to find themselves working defensively is by tracking man-to-man. A nice bit of defense by Jazzy. They were being bullied by Speed, who had decided with no boost to lock them into the back of the net. And the first minute right now is being owned by St. Clair.
Well, we're over a minute of regulation in. St. Clair still with the 1-0 lead. As you can see, Maryville once again trying to force their way in as that one hits off the side, and somehow Jazzy manages to get the save. I have got to go back at some point and watch that save again. I do not know how Jazzy got it out.
That got on the floor. I think there was all of just the left side fender of them falling to be able to find it, but that was smooth jazz. That was freeform Jazzy, making it look ever so easy, even in those very last second moments as they wait for the whites of the eyes of these Maryville attackers, just showing that they can hold their nerve. And you're looking at kind of these 50-50 efforts, especially by Maryville, and now suddenly it's a one-man up style of play. A nice redirect, nice shot, but a Knight will stuff it.
Yep, that they will. Knight once again going to take a turn, able to get the touch pass. One defender, and now this is a scoring opportunity, but no one in the mid from Maryville to try and force it on in. As St. Clair, once again, they are showing up strong on the defense. They are looking like an impenetrable fortress in front of their own net.
Approaching that midway mark of game number 4, St. Clair would love to get themselves all tied up after surrendering the first couple of games. This one a chance, especially as extra efforts by Fabzo brings it to the backboard, and St. Clair holding on to that one goal. Remember, it was all in the first 5 seconds when Jazzy was able to find it off of a nice challenge against kind of just a wayward defender. And Maryville's not making this easy. For every trip that is traveled by St. Clair, you have Maryville taking out their own corner boost, not allowing them to be there for very long. So brief offenses like they've been through the previous few games, but yet they're getting just so much value because they're keeping Maryville back.
Well, now St. Clair going to try and continue to move forward as Maryville able to take possession, going to take this one the other way. And now trying to find the pass. Speed is going to get denied. But luckily for them, Knight was there at the midfield, and now Fabso with a little bit of an opportunity, but not a lot of boost. And now Speed with an opening, bringing this one downfield. The save is there from Shuffleverse, but now here comes the cavalry from Maryville.
Shuffleverse, they shined in the previous game, just completely and overtly. But this time around, they're filling their team when they need it into proper zones, and it's really just been kind of quietly MVP status. St. Clair, otherwise, though, they've been running with a full head of steam behind Jazzy and Fabzo, who've really been up and down this pitch and doing just so much work. Relating wave off the ceiling, steal it out against a possession from Jazzy, but it immediately gets fed right back to the Beast. Speed should be able to find this one. They don't, and that's a dunk by Jazzy. That is 2 in regulation now for St. Clair.
Oh, yeah, this was saucy here. I mean, Fabso, beautiful pass. I mean, that literally hit Jazzy on the wall there towards the side, and then only followed up by an even more impressive shot, being able to find that one off the backboard with no boost remaining, need I mind you. They literally spent all the boost just to get to the ball and then was able to rotate and put that ball down and in. So, again, great play from start to finish coming from St. Clair.
It was an awkward position. You had to leap at it, and you had to make that read. Speed unable to do so. It's a tough angle, especially from the floor. Now Speed trying to make up for it, but a little bit of floor dribbling if they can. And now a downward pass. That one being set up by Knight. Relating wave. Everyone getting involved by Maryville. Less than a minute remaining as St. Clair has themselves a premium opportunity to get this tied up. Another chance. That's a double commit. No one to the backboard. They're bullying Jazzy, but Jazzy, they are not to be messed with. And this could be a third. Will be St. Clair all but assured a tied up series.
The St. Clair defense is absolutely insane. And you know what? They are getting goals on the board. They are playing offense. But where did that play start? It started off of Jazzy getting an insane save that maybe they shouldn't have gotten. Like, I don't even think Maryville think they were going to come away with that save. But they did. They were able to get the save. And now all of a sudden they were able to find an opening because Maryville pushed up so far. And then they were able to turn that defense into offense. Right now, St. Clair's defense, I think, is really the shining factor so far for them in this series.
Can we talk about as well? We may be able to do even more of that. How we have not seen Maryville get a score since game number 2. It has been a while since they got it, and that was an OT. St. Clair Saints green looking mean and green, and they will tie this one up. Walking into game number 5. They let 2, they get 2. And we're going to be seeing this Saints battle go the distance, at least to game number 6. What a melee this has been so far, Captain.
Yeah, absolutely. And now you're looking at the shot count, and you know what? We said it during regulation. We'll say it again. It has been the defense, and none other than Jazzy, well-deserved MVP, playing out of their minds. Not only do they have 5 saves, only 1 from getting 2 savior medals. Extraordinary defense, but they're also coming with 100% goal participation. 2 goals, 1 assist out of the 3 for St. Clair. That's 100% goal participation, and on top of that, Jazzy is shooting at 100% in that game. Jazzy was playing out of their minds.
Wow. And you know, alongside their teammate in Fabzo, who has the 2023 CRL, world champion, you have, it says season 5 grand champion. That weird parallel to have those 2 titles sitting next to each other. But you know what? It's working out for them. A team built around how well they can answer on a proactive defense, not one that simply stands to position, but it also stands to prompt themselves in a counterplay upfield. And it's not like they're only sitting back into their latter half and waiting to kind of, pounce with that. They have definitely been forcing Maryville to answer, but their defense is it's a solid wall. Game number 1 must have been all of an X variable, but they've been able to solve that equation. We go to game number 5, someone's got to get to match point.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it, but who's going to get there first? That's the question. As we are well and underway here in game number 5, 15 seconds off the clock, and it's a scramble and a vie for possession as this one finds its way into the possession of St. Clair. Is now going over towards the side. You can see a 50-50 will fall in front of the St. Clair net as they take control. Shuffleverse gonna leave that one for their teammate as this one's gonna go all the way across the pitch. And right now it just feels like it's been a little bit of boomer ball.
Yeah, it's been a wild exchange. Nice demo. That should be a freebie, but no! Jazzy takes on 2. They win both. Massive save, especially through the smoke. And that's a heck of a shot. Top 90 by Fabso. That was fabulous.
Another goal that started off with a Jazzy save. Like within mere seconds. Once again, Maryville, they keep pounding away at the wall that is in front of St. Clair's net, and they just cannot get through. And then all of a sudden, the counterattack goes the other way. And now Maryville finally able to find the back of the net, and they have broken the drought.
You know what? Save for game number 1, because we did not get to watch that one ourselves. That's the first time that we've been able to see Speed get a goal, and it actually breaks that massive drought like you mentioned, because Maryville had not scored since overtime of game number 2. 2 scoreless games in a row, and it felt like it was starting to be more of the same. Bit of a boring one, but they make all 3 miss. A massive demo, and Fabso just can't complete the shuffle even off of that demo.
Yeah, I was going to say, call it boring if you want to. I happen to love defensive games. I love defensive plays. So call it boring if you want, but I feel like Jazzy has given me all the entertainment I need playing defense in that net. Like I said, I'm going back and watching some of these replays because I still don't know how Jazzy managed to come up with some of these saves. But regardless, here we are, 1-1 tied in game number 5. And right now, just under 3 minutes and 30 seconds left to go. And now Maryville, once again, trying to find the pass plays in the midfield, but St. Clair has just been so good at breaking them up.
I mean, the defense has been electric. The previous goal though was just like, oh, okay, one little move, just enough. Oh, nice back pass, and this is the kind of connections that you have to be afraid of. Maryville, when they link up, is one of the most dynamic powerhouses in collegiate Rocket League, and the extra pass, Knight making 2 of them to be able to get both of his teammates involved. Now they take the lead away from St. Clair.
Yeah, like we love the pass plays. The pass plays are great, but there's something so special about the three-way pass play when everybody gets involved. And you know what? You see that in basketball too. You have a statistic that is pass to assist. And honestly, I think that would be a great addition to Rocket League too, because again, like you give the contribution to the person who made the assist and the person who scored the goal, but it would do an injustice not to involve that third player, because it was a three-way pass play, and that third player should have gotten some credit as well. Is now Jazzy is going to get the credit, all the credit for that goal there for St. Clair.
I want to say the same thing about adding a stat for an impactful demo, because we got to see one immediately right there in that near side corner. There was no one left to stop Jazzy from getting the go-ahead. And that was definitely from the immediacy of dropping the ball into the zone and then getting that demo. And I believe that was made by Shuffleverse, who I think at minimum has 3 of them in this game. We're going to be able to see that in a later term whenever we go into the stats screen. Looking for the Musty, holding it down. Jazzy getting everyone to pause on the Maryville back half. And Shuffleverse just keeping them honest and is going to rush up in between them. We're over the midway of game number 5. Both these teams just dead locked at 2.
Yeah, Fabso now off the back wall of Maryville, able to get this one off the backboard, but is going to get cleared out towards the side. And now Maryville look a little bit disorganized. Luckily, Knight was able to take a little bit more control and slow the ball down speed, and not going to be able to get past that defender there at the mid. Knight not going to be able to get the touch, but it will be a big clear going the other way. Nearly going to be a goal, but once again, Jazzy just there on the recovery.
Jazzy's just omnipotent, omnipresent, just able to do everything that they really need to do for their team. What a shot, a flinger, a zinger that goes to the opposite side. But the same to be said here for Maryville as they immediately counterplay. Someone that's been able to answer the call a time or two has been Fabzo, and then Shuffleverse is going to get the full open lane. That's an overcommit by Maryville. They thought they had the counterplay, and what a single touch by Shuffleverse to make the next man miss.
I'm telling you, this has just been St. Clair's playbook throughout the entire series. It feels like it's just defense punish, defense punish, defense punish. That is literally what it has been. And it hasn't even been like a punish off of a double commit or anything too blatant on the side of Maryville. It's just been intercepting passes, and it has been just going away with the fast break. You know, just stealing possession and then just bombing it downfield and finding open nets on Maryville. So right now, if I'm taking anything away from Maryville, is that they have got to stop pushing up so far and leaving their net exposed, because you're essentially giving away free goals.
Oh, but when they do hit these counter plays, it looks like it was just so surgical and so methodical. Speed keeping track of this one and forcing an extra jump. I think that there was a Fabso or Jazzy combination. The second man missing has really been telling for both of these squads to be able to create that gap. So now Maryville answers back as we have another tied ball game. This time, though, going into the last minute of play, a demo opens things up. Shuffleverse hits the bench, and Relating Wave hits the back of the net.
You know what? I feel like I'm eating my words here, because yes, you know, playing that overall aggression, like throwing every single player, you know, at the net definitely does leave your net exposed. But you know, there's an old adage in traditional sports and in esports that sometimes the best defense is a good offense. So if Maryville can just keep up this insane amount of offense, I guess they just don't need to worry so much about defense.
When it works, no one's going to tell you otherwise. But when it doesn't, you'll have everyone, just the analysts, come out of the woodwork telling you how you could have done better. But for us to see it in real time, you're going to see that redirect attempt. They're going to chomp that one down. They're stealing boost in buckets away from Maryville. Relating Wave with none in the tank. And there's nothing that's going to spawn on that opposite side either, because they were both taken by St. Clair players. Now you just have to win the 50. That's going to go to the backboard. It's going to bar down, not in. And if you're St. Clair, you got to find something here in 15.
I mean, you really do, but this is good positioning here. This is good opportunity until Speed is there to just slam that one right back down. 5 seconds remaining. Shuffleverse tries to get the 50, leads it for Fabso. This could be the last try, as now this one's gonna go up on high. Jazzy cannot get to it in time, and this one will go the other way. Fabso trying to keep this one alive. Still 0 seconds, paying homage to Rule 0, is now Speed gets a touch, and it's still alive, and finally, there we go. Maryville will take game 5.
Positioning themselves for success and into match point before we go to game number 6. 12 shots to Maryville for spread the wealth and the work to their Saints, but St. Clair Green, again, they are always coming out on the lesser side of the shot output because everything starts from a heavy foot into the defensive half. So now that they have themselves into this game, that was such a back and forth. It felt like there was just a couple of midfield plays that spelled the difference, and you had called out Maryville. At times they were a bit too aggressive and left an open gap. That was, I think, 2 separate scorers made by St. Clair where they took advantage of that open back third. But when it goes that fast and when they can execute and be able to finally take advantage of St. Clair not being ready, they just have a free net to go for.
Yeah, and you know what, they got punished, like you had said, at least twice. But at the end of the day, and this is something you really have to applaud Maryville for, because even though they clearly got punished on some of those plays, it did not phase them at all. Like they were just unbothered. They went right after the next play, and they didn't even hesitate to throw all 3 players once again towards the offensive side, going straight for the net, going straight for the aggression, and it paid off. And I got to tell you, you know, towards the end, we really started to see the demos come alive for Maryville, and if Maryville can continue to supply the physical play and supply the demolitions, St. Clair's going to be in trouble, because again, they have been relying on their defense time and time again throughout the series, and if they get demoed in their own net, those demos are going to be Maryville goals.
Yeah, that's the adaptation as well being done by Maryville. Can we be able to get St. Clair to bite? And then can we read them, not just on ball, but on just individual players to get them out of the way? That right there, that opens up a chance. Key defender there and Jazzy, and guess who? It's Relating Wave. Clearing the way, handoff, able to find that first goal.
Look at the dish, dude, like just off the top rope. I mean, that was a beautiful play through and through, just between Knight and Relating Wave, really being able to get the ball around, share the sugar, and they get the sweet taste of the first goal of game number 6, starting things off the right way here for Maryville.
St. Clair Saints Green, they need that game 7. Oh, that one off the near side post, and everyone on Maryville knew that that one was still safe. Had everyone posted up near side and hoping for a speedy flick, expeditious and otherwise. Flip reset, and Knight keeps it in his back pocket, but this is awkward positioning right now, and Jazzy, I think, is finally feeling the heat of considering that they have been demoed out and away from position, and knowing that they have been kind of that main keeper that's found success to counterplay upfield. They know they got to keep themselves alive, and that kind of changes your aptitude and attitude and the way you want to rotate, because you don't want to leave your teammates isolated. Knight just getting full mechanical as they force everyone to pause on the side of St. Clair.
You know, right now, Maryville trying to give St. Clair a little taste of their own medicine here. You know, Maryville, they take an early lead 1-0, and now they're trying to shut down St. Clair, which we saw St. Clair do to Maryville twice. So now it's like Maryville is taking a page out of the St. Clair playbook.
And they're still in those pages and just writing all over them. Little scribbles and little smiley faces to make sure, even if they stuff it right back into that book, they know where it went. Relating Wave. See Shuffleverse, a booming clear, and Jazzy actually backs up, hoping to wait on it, and this is an opportunity. They're going to pass it back, maybe be able to get over to Fabso. Bit of a disconnect, and they're going to reconnect, but it's going to be on the defensive half again, as look how Maryville just travels ever so effortlessly and aggressively to immediately just try and keep St. Clair from advancing forward. And again, they continue to double up their shot output, but the few that they get are very dangerous.
And now we're seeing St. Clair playing a little bit more offense here than defense, and I think that's a good change of pace for them. As you can see, once again, they're taking this one all the way to the net here as St. Clair finds the equalizer.
This looked so just unnerving. This actually looked just so kind of lackadaisical out of Maryville. You had Shuffleverse pin it to his car. It looked like he was preparing for a flick, and then he just bounced it up for the air dribble bump. But even able to make that stop and save. Everyone in Maryville just seems so nonplussed about the idea that that would actually score. The follow by Fabso very timely, and St. Clair will equalize, which so necessary so you don't fall down in a 4-2 overall hole. But now over the midway here at Soka, it looks like St. Clair is starting to really press up.
Yeah, well, here comes the St. Clair Saints again, going off the backboard, trying to find an answer. Not going to be any good. Relating wave, able to find Knight there on the side. Musty Flick gets over one, as Jazzy now will take control. Not a lot of boost to work with, though, as Fabso able to clear this one out past the midfield line. And now going right back the other way into St. Clair territory, as we have just seen an absolute just stalemate for like the last minute.
Everyone's towering up on their back halves of their chessboard, seeing who can just find that last necessary piece to really finalize the deal. St. Clair needs a game 7. Maryville, oh boy, they just need this game. And they're starting to chip away at this defense, seeing where it's going to start forming cracks. Can they get rid of Jazzy? That'd be the main progenitor of success in defense. On the side of St. Clair, Maryville, if they leave a wide open gap, it could be punishment time. We've got less than 80 seconds to go.
Yep, now going back the other way for St. Clair. That was a beautiful double touch, and the pass was there, but Speed able to get the save and put it down and by the wayside, and now going to the other side of the pitch. Knight not able to get the clear on Jazzy, is now Speed finally able to get the touch down towards the midfield. Here comes Knight, is going to get beat out. Now going right back into the corner. St. Clair starting to hammer away at the defense of Maryville until finally Leclerc comes out.
A little bit of miscomms there. It looked like they expected someone to be available for a shot on the side of St. Clair. That's a massive demo. Anyone at home? It's a soft shot. That's all they need because they got rid of the man that mattered the most. That one could be it for Maryville with 39 left on the click and tick. Can they make this clock go faster?
You know what? We said it going into this game. If Maryville are able to get the demos inside of St. Clair's net, they are going to be goals. St. Clair has been relying on their defense, has been relying on the saves time and time again. If you get rid and you start to bring those demos out, you will get goals. And Maryville is bringing the demos here in the late game.
They gotta oppress and smother Maryville, but they're gonna be able to get this back corner boost. St. Clair, this may be their swan song here in game number 6. 15 seconds remaining. Relating wave. He has been so key, so pivotal in this part of the pitch to find success for Maryville. Jazzy steals midfield boost, but Maryville may have just stolen all their hopes. 3 seconds to go, and that one will go off bar and down to floor. It was an honest effort, and one that Maryville brought in kind as they take down St. Clair 4-2.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, that was a phenomenal game from start to finish. And honestly, even though we didn't make it all the way to the game 7, I'm still willing to say that these two teams have displayed enough of their play styles and enough of their talent for me to comfortably say that they are evenly matched. I mean, the games were so close through and through that, I mean, yeah, we didn't go to the game 7, but still, I feel like if you run this game back again and again and again, it's going to be a constant back and forth. I mean, these two teams are so equally talented. So for the side of St. Clair and any St. Clair fans out there, this is not a loss you hang your head to. I mean, they played phenomenally. Maryville played phenomenally. At the end of the day, this was just a really good game.
It really was. Someone has to lose, and that's always the worst part about great teams is that someone has to take the L. But I feel like these teams will be meeting up again later on, going into some D1 playoffs. But that's how the rest of the season is going to pan out. Maryville will stay perfect in a single. Number 1 will go into the loss column there for St. Clair Saints Green, as both of those teams had to play a couple of big matches at 7 and now then the 8 p.m. hour. So Maryville goes 2-0 on the night and then 1-1 for St. Clair Saints Green. So we go through our D2, we go to D1, and then we're going back over to a Division 2 matchup. We're going to end out our night right after this break. It's going to be the Wildcats versus the Bears of Kansas State and Montana State. You don't want to miss it. We'll be back with more NECC right after this.
What exactly is a meat substitute or plant-based jerky? Call me a meathead, but when I want a meat snack, I want real meat. The kind you find at Wenzel's Farm and the only kind they use. Handcrafted in small batches and naturally hardwood smoked right here in the heartland of America. Wenzel's Farm offers 14 flavors of mouth-watering protein-packed power in a stick, except no substitute. Wenzel's Farm, real meat for real life.
Oh man, this is incredible.
Oh, wow.
Huh?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Hey man, grab me a meat stick. I think I can reach it if I just a little more. Just let me go a little. I can't. Just a little more. I almost got it. Careful! Oh God! No, come on, just reach. Just grab my hand. Grab my hand.
Give me the meat stick. This other hand's closer. The one with the stick is. Oh.
Baby, I just wanna be alone. I don't need your company, stop blowing up my phone. Hey, you don't get the things that I've been through, and I don't have the time to lay it all in front of you. And you think that you wanna save me, you don't know it, baby, why you do this? I got this under control, you think you do, but you really don't know that I don't need a savior. You can't be my savior. I'll save myself. I'll save myself. No, I don't need a savior. You can't be my savior. I'll save myself. I'll save myself. Baby, I just wanna be alone. I don't need your company, stop blowing up my phone. You don't get the things that I've been through, and I don't have the time to lay it all in front of you. And you think that you wanna save me, you don't know it, baby, why you do this? I got this under control, you think you do, but you really don't know that I don't need a savior. You can't be my savior. I'll save myself. I'll save myself. No, I don't need a savior. You can't be my savior. I'll save myself. I'll save myself.
Welcome back, everyone. We're getting into our final match of the evening for Week 5 NECC Rocket League action. And of course, I'm still Hell Monkey Man, and that is one of the most adorable little people. And I mean that both with Captain Atsoka as well as, is that a seal? What is that? Was that a dolphin?
It's a manatee.
It's a manatee. Okay.
It's a manatee.
Look, you have more of them down there, at least the ones that aren't being hit by propellers and stuff, so I understand. But we go into our last match of the evening, and Captain Atsoka, I like to call this one, especially this point in the season where things are a little bit sometimes lopsided for undefeated teams, but also teams that haven't gotten a win. This is Pillow Fight of the Week. So we have two teams that have been unable to get a win up to this point, but someone is getting a win tonight between Kansas State and Montana State. How do you deal with programs and teams that have not been able to find success now at the midway mark of the season?
Somebody's getting one. You know, I mean, by the end of this, somebody's gonna get one. I mean, so again, I guess that's how you deal with it. I mean, you either get it or you don't. And at this game here, you know, there's gonna be one less scoreless team, right? I mean, we're gonna have one that's gonna be on the board. Really can't say much more than that, but this is what we're looking at. We got Kansas State University taking on MSU Varsity Bears, and you know, we're looking at the matchup here, and you could, like you had mentioned, you know, both teams so far without a win.
Yeah, they're looking to be able to get that first mark into the winners column, and obviously not everyone's going to find super success when it goes through divisional play. Sometimes that ends up reflecting of teams, of varsity squads moving between divisions. Division 2 has been very competitive this NECC season, and so going in through this semester, both these squads at least will be able to play one another, and someone's going to get a dub. Out of Montana State, I've seen a very competitive overall, like, athletic programs, and so I know a lot of fun will be coming out of the Bears. Kansas State, the Wildcats, look, I've got a buddy. His name literally is just Ema, and that means every man a Wildcat. So trying to see if they can just bolster up some of that feel-good love, maybe for Kansas State to get themselves a win. You walk into this, it's still a best of 7 at Soka. Someone's got to go through it. Do you think we're going to have a Game 7 banger, or is this one going to be done pretty short and sweet?
I don't see this one being short and sweet. You know, I don't know if it's going to go all the way to 7. It definitely could. You know, I mean, so far between these two teams, we really don't have a precedent to really go off of. Yeah. But with because I'm pretty sure these two teams haven't faced each other yet, right? So there's really no telling how this one could go.
Well, you know what? We'll get to find out one way or another. Can the Bears of Montana State get themselves onto the board and finally get something in the win column, or does Wildcat Country come up alive and well? We go onto Forbidden Temple to see who will find themselves some pay dirt. Game number 1.
Yeah, fun fact, everyone. This is actually the map I picked. This is my favorite map of the newer editions. Like, my favorite map of all time in Rocket League is Urban Central, because I've been, you know, involved in this game for a very long time, since Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket Paddle Battle Cars, and Urban was like one of the main maps then and there too. So, but other than that, this one is also my other favorite map.
See, I love Urban Central, and I actually love that they have like the different weather and like times of day with it. I just love crowd maps though, and something like if you could add, like, I don't know, some random guy that's waiting for a bus and just put him in the crowd for Urban Central, I maybe would dig it more. But, you know, I respect it. I respect the choice. And Forbidden Temple, just don't never go daytime. That one sucks. This one's great.
Straight on the nose. But here we go. You know, we're well into it now. A minute and 45, or a minute and 25. My apologies. Off the clock as we continue on. Actually, that was a minute and 15. God, I cannot math at all. Jeez. Okay. I still to this day don't know how I managed to get my degree. Anyway, continuing on, as you can see, now it is a minute and 30. There you go. How you like that, Caster Math? This one going up high, and now you got K, U, L, U, and G, and J being able to get the touch. Is now coming out from the corner. You got Andrew OTC looking to follow up, but no boost and no juice to get a second touch.
Yeah, it feels like both sides are just kind of launching themselves upfield. Not a lot of kind of passes in mind at this point in time. Just seeing what they can kind of dagger and dip into the defense of, and seeing how often and how much it will respond. I love Giro being able to go and get that defensive-sided demo to really kind of clear out the would-be counterplay from the Bears. And Kansas State has really been pushing up, at least with some earnest effort. Found themselves around the perimeter. That's another demo, but this one found by Andrew to thin out the would-be defense. And before the flick manifests by Andrew, it ends up being stuffed out. So both ends at the midway mark of game number 1, unable to get some greater threats to the back net of either side.
Yep, back from the midfield. It's crazy to see that we're already past half of regulation. You know, it doesn't feel like we've been here for that long. Meanwhile, you got Vixen looking to get the switch in the flick, but will be denied. And now from the midfield line, Andrew able to get the touch to send this one all the way back to Kansas State territory, as the defense is there and waiting. Only just about 2 minutes remaining, and we are still scoreless, Monkey Man.
Yeah, everyone kind of clustered up right now for the Bears. You got to be careful, because any kind of flight time on that ball, and that would have been boomed into a very dangerous territory for them. Kansas State, though, might still very well find that same kind of territory, especially as you have control with a minute 50 remaining. Oh, that one will collide. Still floating. Vixen drops down from the backboard, and the Wildcats may find profits. Still trying to turn it around from the perimeter. So close, yet still so far.
Well, eventually you can see Kansas State will score after trying again. They're able to find the back of the net off the pass from Vixen. Kansas State now go up 1-0.
And finally, just putting a heater to the opposite side post. They had stretched everything from that same position. And as everything started to transition to the other corner, they just never gave up on that possession, turning into something more. So, every man a Wildcat out here, as Kansas State is finally able to break the stalemate on the scoreboard. And it looks like they want to do it again. They take a step back before Vixen wins another challenge.
Yep, this one going up high. Now you can see Kunj able to come through with the touch. Not going to be able to do much there, as now Giro puts one on and in. Kansas State University find their second.
This felt so free. Andrew put it high, but it was Giro who climbed the ladder just over Volt, and they had no one filling that back gap because Spicy was coming in from the other side corner. So Kansas State finding another one in earnest as they go down to the last 60 seconds of game number 1. Well, this was quiet, but all of a sudden the Kansas State Wildcats made it oh so loud.
Yep, that they have. And now take a look at this. The Bears looking to get on the board with less than a minute to go. Volt not going to be able to get it to go, as this one's going to find its way back into Bears territory. There goes the touch from Kunj, as this one's going to go out towards the corner. Big demo there onto Vixen, as just over 30 seconds remain, and KSU still enjoying that 2-goal cushion.
Yeah, they should be able to hang on to this for as long as they maintain no Bears allowed in this Fortress of Solitude. Kansas State not allowing anything to develop. It's been one-touch offenses. They got to make sure you don't let that one through. Andrew gets one for free. This is miscommunicated and mishandled by Kansas State. Should have been a cleaner touch. And even with Giro right underneath it, they just were unable to see the arc.
Yeah, honestly, I think that was just a great read by Andrew. You know, they saw that they were trying to go for the musty, and don't get me wrong, the musty flick is a good tactic, but it's not always necessary. In that instance, probably not necessary. You telegraphed your move from a mile away, and Andrew ate it up.
As they gobbling all of that, can they be able to find one extra, because they've got to get themselves to overtime at this point. They're just going to let this one linger, and that was a very smart move. After letting at least them cut the lead in half, the Bears unable to accumulate more. And the Wildcats, they'll go up 1-0 in this series. And if you look at the stat line, it feels like this was so much closer at Soka, but that was all of kind of a late-term resurgence. Otherwise, for the most part, this was a heavy hand of field dominance by Kansas State.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a 1-goal game. There was only a 1-shot difference. There was only a 1-save difference, and it was a 1-goal difference. You know, it goes to show that, you know, these little plays, you know, here and there can make a big difference. All it comes down sometimes is the 1 touch, 1 shot, 1 save, 1 goal. The devil is in the details, and so far, you know, Kansas State, they managed to come out on top because through and through throughout that matchup, they were the most consistent. There's nothing else to it.
Yeah, so game number 1 about consistency, but now can they string together a couple of successes? Because Kansas State has not really kind of found that throughout the season. Both these teams, both these programs really hoping for some of that, especially now through the downhill slide from week 5 onward through the rest of regular season play. For maybe the idea of a postseason berth. It would come in probably to an 8th seed position, or rather, I guess, a 4th seed position out from them. But we get to see if they can continue to just find that, maybe with pace this time. Both teams left things to linger, possessions left unchallenged in the midfield. Let's see how they bring in game 2.
Well, let's see. Only time will tell as we get underway here in game number 2. And things are pretty much not even passing the midfield line until finally Spicy able to get the touch over. And now going out back towards the corner, you got Vixen trying to take control here. Really slowing down the pace, able to get past one, but can't get past Volt as KSU start to inch their way in towards the MSU side.
They did that throughout the previous game, just kind of waited out the Bears. That's going to go from the crossbar, and Vixen, ooh, I think they tried 2 things at the same time. They wanted to go for that shot, were already leaping, then recognized the defender was there first, so they had to bail out, but they were already pushing upfield. And now, keeping them honest, all 3 defenders hanging out on the side of the Wildcats as they send 1 touch done, and now they're maintaining this possession, but it's really going to be up to Andrew, I think, for the Bears to find some level of consistency for Montana State. A bouncer, but it will at least drop out wide.
Well, here we are, past a minute of play, still 0-0, and it has just been an absolute scramble. And this is what it kind of felt like there in game number 1 as well. I mean, nobody really taking possession of the ball. It just kind of seems as though that both sides are, you know, taking turns running 1v1s for the most part. Haven't seen too many pass plays, you know what I mean? So it's kind of just feels like instead of a 3v3 so far from both sides, it just feels like, you know, a 1v1, 1v1, 1v1.
It's the drop and answer, not quite boomer ball, but more so if you can individually make someone bite on a play, then you're playing more of a drop zone and seeing what comes next. And for Kansas State, it's working much more often because MSU has ended up clustered on top of each other. Now it's a 1v1. Spicy jumps up, no boost, no problems, as they force Vixen to have to do the same. But big problems for Montana State. It's a go-ahead goal. Vixen takes it end to end.
Yep, that they do, and that time, we've seen it so many times before, is where the offense just pushes way too far up into enemy territory, and then they leave their net wide open. We saw it previously with Maryville. The only difference is that Maryville was bringing an unrelenting offense, and that's where they stacked all their chips. You know, they put all their eggs in the offense basket, and they were just bringing in an absolutely astounding shot count. That's why they're able to get away with that style of play. So for the Varsity Bears, if they're going to try and push that far into enemy territory, they have got to bring a high shot count with it.
They definitely do, because, I mean, they've been able to move upfield. They just haven't been able to find more lethal touches. I love this attempt by Volt. They're actually setting up Spicy not only to get boost, but ball. They win a collision off of that challenge and trying for at least an extension the other way. Giro wants to link up with their teammate, and Kansas State wanting to double up this lead. Not exactly fully comfortable. They got to the last time around. Flip reset. Oh, just cycling them. Trying to keep everyone frozen on their wheels. You had a lot of Bears that looked like they were going into some early sleep. But for right now, 2-10. What in the world? Andrew just kind of left with a wide open net. The defender too deep.
Well, there you go. Good answer coming from the Bears, from MSU. And a great pass out of the corner from Spicy. Even if, you know, intended or not, you know, they still were able to beat their opponent to the ball, get that ball out from the corner and into the mid, and then convert that into a goal. So, again, good pass play coming out from the side of MSU to equalize here right at the 2-minute mark.
Much better standing for them, considering that they were only able to cut this lead in half once it was 2-0 in game number 1. Volt taking an outside level shot, trying to be their best Dwayne Wade impression to maybe draw the foul and draw someone to cut up. You have a cherry pick position for a Wildcat player, and a nice challenge down as they do go to the outside corner. 100 seconds remaining. We are no closer to finding out who's going to be able to break over in regulation, but it feels like Kansas State is really starting to steal some territory from Montana. See what they can do with it. Oh, what a shot, what a save.
And here we go. This is where you see the Bears start to come alive in game number 2. You know, again, they were a little bit shaky there in game 1. Now they're starting to play a lot more comfortably, and you are getting good results. Spicy able to find the second goal for MSU.
And Montana State, it felt like this was going to be a pendulum swing, and they just kept it going and rolling, taking away those freer lanes that the Wildcats has started to develop. The Bears will take a giant paw and swipe at it. And we may have a tied series going into game number 3, depending on how they keep this pressure up. Kansas State has got to find an answer, especially because, I mean, just look at this rotation. This is free opportunities for them.
Yeah, they've been catching the crossbar a few times there, but still the recovery from KSU has been pretty good as they continue to try and keep out MSU, but they can no longer. Andrew finds the third goal here for the Bears.
Volt took that from midfield, swiped it back, and nearly had themselves their own goal. But at least getting 2 defenders to bite, Andrew never to leave an opportunity just without some extra effort behind it. They just turn it right in around the foot of the post. They're going to get boost here as well as ball for Montana State. So this one, just one insurance goal away from making sure that we have a tied ball game before game number 3. But Kansas State, we've seen them score quickly, but same to be said for Andrew, who scores in bunches.
Yeah, and this was a beautiful shot here. I mean, Andrew, again, being able to come through for MSU. They are able to get past one defender off the interception, and then they just ding it right off the sidebar to get past the second. And now, I mean, it's looking about done and dusted, but with that being said, you know, you can't rule out the 10-second time theory in Rocket League. You know, you want to allot yourself at least 10 seconds per goal. So is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? Probably not.
ESPN graphs going crazy right as soon as that Soka's talking as they shift all around the board, but definitely the Vegas bets are starting to trend in the right direction for the Bears as they bring themselves back into a 1-1 series tie. Kansas State got the first, but MSU, they answer right back to them, especially off of these premium pass plays. Finally, everyone linking up together just to celebrate at the 0-second mark.
Yep, here we go. And who does that remind you of? I mean, we've seen these type of 0-second plays before, right? And that was St. Clair. St. Clair, again, they went down 2 series early, and then they started getting all of this momentum, and then you know, they're finishing their goals with 0 seconds on the board. So, you know, I mean, granted, KSU managed to take game number 1, but you really don't want to give too much momentum away to MSU because they can get a little carried away with it.
They definitely can, and we only have 6 shots to the 11 of Montana State. Obviously, scoring on just about less than half of that, and you know the other 6 that were found. I mean, that means that there was 100% of the shots were either lethal or saved. So a lot of accuracy being posted up this game in particular by the Varsity Bears. So can Kansas State just kind of calm everything down? It felt like they let a lot of the kind of that prompt and push by both Andrew and Volt to really get them on their heels, and got to see if they can just kind of isolate that. They did really good in game number 1 by taking on those 1v1s and winning those challenges, but they're not going to be given any freebies anymore.
No, they aren't. And quite honestly, I kind of felt like, you know, KSU gave up a little early, you know, like because don't get me wrong, MSU was scoring, like they were scoring pretty well. They scored early. So that's great. You know, they get the momentum back on their side, but still you have time to make the comeback. And, you know, we already know that KSU, they can come away with some good plays. But it just seemed like they gave up. They gave up. Like we didn't see the same type of tenacity and consistency that we saw in game number 1. Like when you go down 3 goals, it's not over, not by any stretch of the imagination. But then, you know, they just kind of were getting a little bit lazy on the pitch. And MSU, they just kept stacking up shots and stacking up goals.
And it felt like a lot of that was the responsibility of Giro as well as Vixen. So got to see if those two can kind of continue to link up and just find that ability to take away space, because like you mentioned, the Bears, they weren't really in this immediate amount of domination, but then it ended up looking like it by the end of the game. So we go into game number 3. Remember, this is best of 7. And both these teams in combination now on the season have been able to accumulate 10 game wins. It was before this only 3 for the Wildcats and 5 for the Bears. So someone's got to find and multiply almost by 2 what they've been able to get through the entirety of this first 4 weeks, as the first minute is nearly coming to a close very quickly.
Yep, and here we are 0-0. This is, not someplace that's unfamiliar. Again, both of these teams have been playing, pretty much in-your-face defense for the most part. And it's not until, you see at least like the first minute or 2 that are gone before you really start to see the offense from either side wake up. KSU looking to wake up right about now. As you can see, the pressure is on. The MSU varsity Bears, again, applying a lot of pressure onto the KSU defense.
Yeah, Andrew has been just lights out on second effort. They have that first touch that drops it to where they ultimately will chase it down, and then they try to dunk it through. That's something that has to be identified by Kansas State, especially with just how they kind of commit to what's going to be that next offensive run. So, and same thing has been true as well for the Wildcats. They do follow one. Vixen is on an island. Got to make sure they find this touch. They get a touch to it, but Volt already had too much pace. That isolating maneuver gives them the lead.
Yeah, and there's really not too much to this one. That was just a really good redirect. Again, a little bit of a cherry pick, right? They were on the other side, even though that, clearly Kansas State were putting shots on target. And again, Andrew able to get the touch and able to clear it out to find a teammate open downfield. But again, it was just a great play on the defense. Woo! And now Volt able to find a great play on the offense.
Yeah, this is a player that was starting to really ramp it up. And Vixen, unfortunately for them, they assisted by getting this one high. And Volt, not a stranger to just leaping at the chance. Anything that presents itself on the Wildcat defensive box is going to be a target, especially by Volt. So now if you're KSU, you have to calm down. You have to make sure that you don't give any more of these freebies over to MSU. And it's not like they've been easy shots. They've been high level, and Volt has been presenting as much.
Well, you can see MSU once again going right back for the attack, but they're going to have to recover a little bit here at the midfield. It's been a real tug of war at that midfield line, and honestly, that's a place where KSU has been having difficulty here in Game 3 as MSU continue to apply that pressure. I'm not sure if they were looking for the shot or the bump, but unfortunately, Spicy, they're going to miss both on that last outing.
They were giving a lot of respect to the defense right there, recognizing that someone should be able to get that touch. A big save by Vixen. I wonder if that was actually going to make it interior post, but either way, you had Jiro that they put something on target. It was kind of a ripper. Oh, and this is an awkward one, a massive save, but you're going to have eventually this one just steal itself from between the pipes. 2 awkward moments for the defense of Kansas State, and Vixen unfortunately caught at the helm of 2 of them as well.
And you know what's really painful about that is that it's still registered as a save.
Yep.
Like, it registered. You get credit for the save. You get the points, but MSU is going to get the goal.
Yeah, that's not the fun side of things. You're like, oh, epic save, cool. Why didn't it work? So, 2 minutes to go, and Montana State, they've got 3 goals, but again, the game is not over. This should not be a GG go next. You just continue to drive and you thrive. Kansas State, gotta have that same mentality. But if you allow some of these extra just backboard chances, it feels like this one will be done very quickly.
I mean, just about a minute and 35 remaining. Big demo from Spicy to try and relieve the pressure. As this one's going to come out of the corner now, going towards the mid. Big touch there by Andrew. Looking for Spicy, and Spicy finds the back of the net. What a play from MSU.
Andrew all the way downfield, and Spicy shows their belly so they can have the most absolute on-target zinger into the opposite corner, as you can see. 86 seconds to go. And this one, okay, that may be the backbreaker. Get this one, you keep it close, you keep it competitive, and you keep your composure if you're the Wildcats.
Well, I mean, this is exactly the remedy for that last play. I mean, the last play, it was beautiful, it was great, the momentum's going the other way. You gotta shut that down immediately. Score off the kickoff, bring things back in a little. Now, okay, things are not out of hand. Now we are still within a ball game here. 1 minute and 15 to go, 3 goals. KSU is still in it.
Erase that stylistic shot make sure that no one even thinks about it. But oh my goodness, of that perspective we got has felt like the perspective that we've had the entirety of this game. Andrew sends a Vixen to space, and then the defense just simply doesn't have an answer.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew is he's just a wee bit cheeky, isn't it? Like, Andrew is just, they are just like always being a nuisance to the side of KSU. I mean, anytime you see KSU really starting to, get on the brighter side of things, Andrew's there to just ruin their day.
Just a moment of darkness, and then the light goes out. Vixen, they're hoping for a better game, and Volt couldn't ask for a better game. They get a hat trick in this one, got half the Bears. Overall scores, as a couple have been picked up by Andrew, and then the one by Spicy that just, oh, so beautiful shot from before. And now we're one off from a Brazil and Kansas State. If you are the Wildcats, the good news is it's a best of 7. The even better news is they can't take all these goals with them. You just got to get rid of this game out of your head.
Yeah, now I would say GG go next.
Yeah.
This is that moment. But with that being said, we've already discussed it time and time again. That doesn't mean you stop playing, to be honest. You want to build a little bit of momentum going into your next game. So when we say GG go next, it's not like, okay, GG, I'm done with this game, even though it's definitely going to feel that way when you're on the latter half of a Brazil. But still, KSU, they should try and get a consolation goal, if anything.
Yeah, at least try to ruin the Brazil, or maybe be part of it. Maybe go help out and create the Barcelona. I don't know. There's a few ulterior motives and ideas that you can kind of create into this. But at the very end of it, make sure that you're having fun, because the positive vibes are going to be what gives success to both sides, regardless of what happens for the remainder of this series. As soon as you start getting your head about it, it's all done and dusted. So 7 seconds to go. MSU, they are looking like they just let go of game number 1. The last couple have been dominant, as the Bears will find themselves in the lead in the series going to game 4.
Yep, that they are. And now Kansas State, again, has the challenge to try and take that momentum away, because it would be different if it was a closer game. But, I mean, my goodness, look at the stats. You're looking at 7-1. You're looking at a Brazil. And right now you're looking at 15 shots in comparison to 3. I mean, that's tough, and especially going into the next game, MSU, they're going to be feeling great.
Yeah, that's a 5th, and that was a proactive measure employed by Volt. We got to see Volt, I think, for the better part of the first couple of games. Game number 1, a little bit lacking, a little bit non-present, but game 1 is also about who's ready first, but game 2 onward is about who's ready to adapt and overcome for the entirety of this series. And Volt obviously was not going to let Andrew be doing all of the work, and I love that even Spicy was getting involved, not just a 2-man effort, but the entire team. Kansas State, something about that is completely missing. Got to see if they can take this full minute to settle down and start at least slowing the damage that was being applied by Montana State.
Yeah, and you know what? We have already seen this. Like, keep in mind, we saw the first game, unfortunately, not really go their way. You know what I mean? So it's still not. It's so far we're keeping pace. You know what I mean? Like, KSU, they still can take another game, and all of a sudden we're tied back 2-2. Game number 1 was definitely in the favor of MSU, right? And then immediately KSU comes back. So we're still on course for an even matchup until MSU and Volt get the first goal.
I want to see what ended up happening on the back third here, because it felt like, oh, there was a bump. Oh, wow. Making sure that it runs through. That is off-ball play at its finest, because they got the third man of Kansas State off kilter. I thought they were in perfect position, and they were, but if you can play away from the ball and, find extra variables to make it even easier for it to go through, do so. So the Bears will strike first, and Kansas State, I need to see them answer very swiftly.
I tend to agree, and that's what we saw in the last game as well. We saw a pretty impressive goal, coming from MSU, and then there was an immediate kickoff goal afterward. Granted, it wasn't enough to make, a full comeback from a 7-1, but still, there was a quick rebuttal, and, Kansas State, they need another quick rebuttal here in game number 4.
If there was ever a person on this team that I was going to be concerned about for the Wildcats, it was going to be Vixen, considering that 3 separate times they were just being bullied. And that's not what you want to have happen, especially in isolated moments to players, and to be able to keep them calm and keep them confident that they can be impactful going to the next game. And it looks like they've really told Vixen, hey, get out there. We want you to challenge. We want you to be able to get in the face of these initiating runs. Well, in so doing, you're having a lot of extra defensive kind of posturing being held up by Jiro, and they must find at least it's kind of a tag team effort around the teammates. Otherwise, it's just going to allow more chances by the Bears. And we're now 90 seconds into game number 4. Oh, man, and Vixen comes up with a nice dig.
Yep, that they do. And right now, once again, we're just seeing that shot count just skyrocket for the side of MSU. And, you know, if you're continuing to lay on shots on target, eventually they will find the back of the net. And now MSU gets to enjoy a comfortable 2-goal cushion.
That was so just so well done. I think that was Spicy that was sweeping the goal line. And even with the third man of Kansas State, just knowing that they're there, they had to slow down, and that created the stretch play to get that shot to go the complete other side post. So that just really smart play so far out of Montana State. And Kansas State, it's not like they've not been able to find the ball. They just haven't been able to kind of lock in and, you know, connect with one another. That's a nice takeaway, but Spicy keeps it upfield.
Yep, that they do. And now, under 3 minutes to go, MSU have a 2-0 lead as they look to put themselves onto series point. But once again, you could just see that they are just winning in the shot count. They are bringing that aggression. They're forcing KSU to pull off these double commits in order to get these saves and try and clear things out. And now this one's going to go the other way, but the recovery from MSU is there.
Winning past a couple, and the third man just has to be locked in. They do so very well, but Andrew, no boost, will have to retreat as Spicy and Volt aim to link up and nearly do so kind of freely as everyone from Kansas State turtles up from within the stripes of their own back box. You have one elevation here by the Wildcats as the last 2 minutes of play keep Montana State just kind of roaming around from midfield on back. They really haven't been stopped from making these full field, full pitch, just kind of cycles. They've been able to freely rotate wherever they may please. And you're now running out of boost. Vixen having the majority of it, the lion's share, and they're going to be able to bait at least a few of these defenders out of the box.
1:40 to go. Unfortunately for KSU, they are still scoreless here in game number 4 as the pressure continues to build coming from MSU. Big Clair is going to send this one back into the Bears territory as that one's going to get 50 down and towards the side. Volt with a full tank of boost can make something happen here as they go up high. They're not going to be able to get past that first defender as Andrew now is going to come with the follow-up, and Volt gets a bump and also gets an awkward touch on the ball, and Spicy able to thread the needle and give MSU their 3rd goal.
I swear Spicy doesn't score unless it's cool. You know, just an immediate leap from that low side corner, and what a bang across from that corner zone to the opposite post and just having it careen in. What a wild set that everyone from the Bears have really been able to bring. It's a nice hot pop. They do take it away as Jiro just gives the Wildcats a chance. First one, I think, in terms of shots taken on target by Kansas State in a while, and Vixen has a free opportunity, and they will be able to at least get one less than 1 minute to go.
I mean, here we're back into possibility now. I mean, 56 seconds, that's more than enough time to get 2 goals. I mean, I've seen 2 goals happen in literally a span of like 10 seconds. So you could definitely make this happen. KSU, they just need to win this next kickoff.
Gotta find that, gotta find it probably within the next 30 or so seconds just to give themselves ample time for the last one. Kansas State, it's not like they've been unerred and trying to go for these challenges, but they've not connected with value behind them. And oh man, last man on deck. And even then, they're just kind of playing with their food. Andrew knowing they don't have to do much more than just kind of plant the ball all the way in that latter third. And if you're Kansas State, you have to score right here. What a ripper by Vixen. And suddenly we're only 1 goal down.
Yep, MSU, I mean, don't get me wrong, you had that 2-goal lead. It was feeling pretty good. You know, you can run the clock, play a little defense, and try and take as much time as you want. But now it's time to get back on offense. Now it's time to force Kansas State inside of their own half, because now you're allowing them to come back, and now they are within 1 of equalizing with just over 20 to go.
Giro with a heck of a pass previously. There was a lot of pace behind it, and yet it was so on target off of that sidewall. Vixen has to be on the dot and on the money. And they recognize that Volt is aiming to bully them from the back wall. They get a nice save as well. Must transition upfield. There is nothing left to be said. Giro, no boost. They can't transition at all. Can they even boom this up? It's very awkward. They keep it aloft, but this one's going to die in their own back box. The Bears of Montana State Varsity are going to go up to match point, trying to get their first series win on the season.
Yep, and once again, it's just the same old tale that we have been saying for MSU here. They come away with 13 shots on target to the 5 coming from KSU. Now, granted that the shot percentage is looking a lot better for Kansas State. I mean, you're looking at Vixen, they go 2 for 3. That's a great shot percentage. I mean, overall, you know, they're going 2 for 5, you know, but on the other side, you're looking at 3, and, you know, you're looking at 3 and 13. You know, clearly shot percentage is better for Kansas State, but again, you know, it's the shot count, it's the time, it's the amount of possession, and MSU have just been winning the possession game, and they've been winning, I think, the rotation game, because when you have all 3 of your players scoring one and assisting one, that just screams to me perfect rotation.
That's true. And everyone has a lot of ample room to really make their efforts. And you have 13 shots. I mean, unless that's being kind of met with either double digits or at least somewhere in the ballpark, but it's only about 5, that means that you're also winning by volume. You're just able to keep your opponent planted with their back to the wall, constantly having to go up, get saves, and make stops. And that's not the way you ever want to have to start, especially if everything is just going to be a counterplay. So now we go into the trenches, and we go into a familiar situation here for the Wildcats. Kansas State hoping to get another game win. They have been not often served and not often found for them. And Montana State hoping to get that first series dub from the top rope. It's a dunk in, and Kansas State draws first blood.
And there we go. That's how you have to start this game off. If you are KSU, you got to get the first goal on the board. You have to steal that momentum back. And now KSU are starting this game off right with the potential to try and get another win on the board and stay alive in this series.
It's been a long time since they've had a lead. To be able to start with it is huge. A double commit, though. And that's going to be massive the other direction unless Volt is able to, you know, find this one. Apparently it won't. But that one very well could have been tough. A nice save by Vixen. They actually traded out of the Dominus. They're over to the Finnick. And it definitely feels there's a bit of that mental warfare being fought individually by Vixen to kind of keep themselves in this game, seeing where they can be most comfortable. But Volt, comfortable no matter where it is, as long as they're shooting at a Kansas State net.
Yeah, this time they were just peppering the backboard. And not only that, but the waterfall in particular. I mean, they kept getting the ball to dive straight down. And, like, yeah, you can defend that, but it's still really difficult to defend those straight down touches from the waterfall. And not to mention where Volt was positioned at that angle to come in from the waterfall down. That is just so hard to defend. So, again, that was just great positioning, I think, coming out from the side of MSU. Is now Spicy finds another.
Spicy doesn't score anything that isn't a million miles an hour. What a nice flick pass by Volt, and done in stride and just in front of the midfield line. 124 kilometers per hour in freedom units. That's fast. So 2 in a row found by the Bears.
And keep in mind that we have 3 goals on the board, and we're just now passing a minute of regulation. So this has the makings for a high-score game, and I'm all here for it. As you can see, we're going right back to business here for MSU as they look to find an opening, and that one was a little dangerous there for KSU, but they're able to avoid the danger.
That was as scary as the witch I have on my front doorstep for Halloween. Seeing if they can be able to get even scarier out here. It's a triple commit. Everyone goes. Gotta take advantage. See if you can be able to reconvene at the near side post. They get everyone stalled. Vixen and Giro in combination in the same corner. And all of the Bears leaping at every chance to get this out. This may go over the top, and Giro from distance will tie us up again.
Yeah, beautiful chip shot here. I mean, they just sweep from across. They get the touch, and it's not even an absolute, like, laser, right? Like we saw earlier, coming from MSU, they sent an absolute laser into the back of the net, and this time they were able to find MSU out of space and out of pocket. Kansas State, it just goes to show when you're positioned correctly, you don't even have to send an absolute screamer into the back of the net. You just have to get the right touch in the right spot.
And it definitely felt like the Bears were kind of trapped in their box for way too many opportunities, being just stuffed out by for Kansas State. But then they all wanted to separate and get some boost. A lofting shot like that found Andrew kind of leaking out of his back post position and wanting to just get something in the tank. So finally you take advantage of them after you just have everyone kind of trapped for a while. And at the midpoint approaching of game number 5, where the Bears want to finally close out what could be a winning series, Kansas State has finally found an offense that's at least alive. Let's see if it continues to do so even more into these next 30 seconds.
We'll take a look at Vault going for the musty. Unfortunately, not going to be come up with much. A double commit coming from MSU. Very uncharacteristic. We haven't seen many of those coming from MSU. I think that might have been a little bit of a lack of communication, a little bit too much excitement, you know, there at the midfield line. You see that open opportunity, and all of a sudden, everybody's eyes go wide.
Everyone's very excited about just the possibility of a dub. And so they just pounce at everything. And you know that you have the 3-1 leniency to let a game slip if you gotta, but that's a coaching moment as well. You don't want to let any of these weaknesses, these vulnerabilities start to show, because they can be multiplied, especially by a Kansas State roster that's so desperate for a dub. A nice save as they're able to stand strong and keep the Bears at arm's reach. 100 seconds coming up.
And you see Spicy trying to drop the pass there. And again, we're seeing some great defense coming from KSU. My only concern is that they're spending maybe a little bit too much time playing defense. And if we've already seen MSU, they have been winning the shot count over and over and over again, and inevitably they have won more games. So I really want to see KSU really step things up in the possession game and start taking shots away from the Bears.
Nice takeaway there from the backboard. Recognizing that Spicy was already on that top corner as they try to clear it around that same third. Don't want to let them get the last death knell, as Kansas State needs a goal to either they're going to have to force OT or get this done in regulation. I feel like if we reset into overtime, the Bears are going to have that proper resiliency to get themselves through. Oh boy, Spicy taking a shot on his own net. This is going to go backboard. Volt must make this read, and we got 45 coming up to maybe decide the ball game.
It's coming down to the wire now. I mean, like you said, 40 seconds to go here. And now the ball's going to be going up high in the mid. Vixen looking to get the touch. Gets the flip reset, doesn't use it, though, as Vault is going to 50 this one out all the way to the other side of the pitch. Now coming out of the corner. This could be dangerous. Good touch there from the defensive side of Kansas State. 50-50 now. Back going the other way towards MSU. Pass towards the mid, but not able to connect.
Ooh, 15 seconds. Feels like OT is lingering almost inevitably. Spicy's going to pre-flip upfield, and Giro much the same. Volt on target. Both sides hoping to just kind of keep clean, but with no one at home, Vixen, they get a demo. Is this going to be enough? A nice takeaway by Spicy. It's going to stay up. Oh, can't get the redirect. They keep the ball aloft, though. And now suddenly the hero's moment as it goes all the way upfield. It will land into safer grasses for Kansas State, but overtime is here.
You center that redirect, and that's a goal, and that's game. But now, here we are in OT. This very well could end at any moment. As you can see, KSU now going to apply that early pressure in overtime, trying to find an opening, as this one does get cleared out by Andrew. And now there's a 2v1 scenario. Luckily for KSU, they were able to recover. And now, once again, we see some overwhelming offense coming from both sides. I'm wondering where this aggression was in regulation.
Yeah, they were just kind of biding their time, waiting for the reset to get some extra boost and just be back in default position. No one on this touch. Giro isolated and frozen on the goal line. They still get that save, waiting on the shot from Andrew. And Vixen, a nice flick. Can they do it again? Have to win it past Volt. They step a little early. They don't have any extra boost, and thus they can't get any power. So now the counterplay is going to happen, but it's stuffed out. Giro never gets to develop a shot opportunity in the first minute, about to come to fruition here in overtime as Kansas State is positioning to pounce.
Yeah, KSU were absolutely suffocating, and still are. Look where they're holding the line. That defensive line is at the midfield. They are keeping MSU inside of their own territory for now. And I got to tell you, Kansas State, they are looking really good so far here in OT. Oh. But still, it all comes down to one play. It all comes down to one shot. All comes down to one goal.
One final moment, especially for Kansas State squad so desperate for a dub. They've not been very frequent a setup maybe for Vixen. They were hoping to be able to get some midfield boost, and instead they're going to get a little low 5 to their teammate. That one will eventually come about, but now with very little boost, can they get a redirect? It's not going to drop to the floor. Giro keeps it at midfield one more time. Over the top, Vixen from the backboard as their teammates are dying. They go flying. Can they get this one? Careening from the corner. They take that corner boost, but we're now approaching minute number 2, and the Bears, they can't counterplay very well. No boost in their tanks.
Here we are, 2 minutes into OT. Big pinch coming out from the side. Now back towards the mid, followed up by MSU. And there goes Andrew looking for a teammate in the mid, but they were just off the mark on that pass.
It's a little bit. They knew that they had someone crossing, but they did it a bit too far back. And Kansas State, it feels like we're just kind of on repetition at this point. Same cycle, same corner, same area, and same amount of time. Feels like we always cross the threshold of a minute. And now, as they maintain possession, Vixen gets the flip reset, bring it to the sidewall. You actually have them peel back. They don't finish off that shot opportunity. Instead, decide to go back and just kind of play it safe. Very conservative. Spicy with a drop off. It's going to go to Giro in an opportunity. And again, look where we are. We're approaching that 40 to 50 second mark differential on the minute, and it's always in the other corner.
Yeah, now here comes Spicy. Trying to put a little heat on that touch. Missed opportunity as that one was on, but Giro was there for the save as MSU continue to try and get the play.
Giro to hero as they came hurtling across the post to make sure that this season still has a chance for a dub. 3 minutes plus into overtime. Spicy gets it stolen off of his hood and has to take it all the way from corner to corner, but a dish, crossbar, and they will commit. Vixen, 50-50, goes neutral. No boost in the tank for Giro. They have to get it from the corner, and instead it is challenged out. 3:33 and more now into overtime, and a booming clear will force Volt back, but a shot will be brewing.
Yeah, but which way? That's the question. As you can see, Spicy now going to be giving up the possession as Andrew has to work from within their own corner. This one's going to bounce out. This could be a big opportunity here, but no, Andrew from the back wall gets the first touch, and now Volt sends it towards the net, but they are off target.
They expected the defender to step up, so both sides playing for a 50-50. Volt in a 1v1, he will dodge the demo. Now he goes up for the dub, gets the flip reset, and another diving save. This one found by Vixen, but it's not over. You're able to see the cycle right there as Spicy keeps it in. Andrew doing the same, forcing every single Wildcat to answer the call. A late-term musty. Volt right at the midfield crosshair. We're nearly a full game into overtime. Volt with the lift. Can he drift it around? One last dunk, another big save. Kansas State putting up the wall.
And you know what? With the rate that this is going, I'm going to go ahead and I'm thinking here that the way this is going to be decided, because clearly neither team is going to be given an inch, it's going to come down to who's going to be able to pull off a successful physical play. We have almost gone an entire length of regulation here in OT. No team is showing any signs of deteriorating and showing any signs of, you know, forced error. So it's going to have to come down to the physical play, in my opinion.
It really will. I think that we're going to see a demo, you're going to see something swept, or you're going to see a big mistake. An OG might develop. I don't want to curse anyone to it, but Giro with a heater. It will be denied by Volt. An extra follow-up not to be developed just yet. Who maybe can find that tiny sliver of difference as the Bears used everything in their tank to try and get Kansas State to bat an eye. Spicy and Volt are going to rotate that opposite side lane, and away we go one more time. Volt with free airspace, trying to get it past Vixen. That's going to go ceiling dangerous because someone could dive, and it's going to be in the form of Andrew. But Giro will do the same thing to get this clear.
Yeah, this is looking really, really dangerous. I mean, for both sides respectively, no one can really find the answer. Now, more often than not, when you're going this far into OT, you see people in a lot of teams play very cautiously because no one wants to be that person. Nobody wants to be the one that makes that mistake. Nobody wants the one that makes that whiff, right? So you really see a lot of hesitation, but not from these two teams. They're still playing with the same amount of aggression that they had in regulation, and now a big open net opportunity will be good for KSU. They stay alive in the series.
Playing conservative will not win you dubs, but when you over-aggress, there is a place to punish, and Kansas State does so. The takeaway with more than 6 minutes of overtime. They stay alive through 5, working to game number 6. Look at the shot totals here at Soka. Volt with 12 just by themselves and 12 to spread between their other 2 teammates.
Yeah, and then look at the save count from Kansas State.
Wow.
19 saves. Again, I said it once, I'll say it again. You bring the physical play, you're looking at like 20 goals. If you just manage to get a bump, you get a demo on one person in net. Like 19 saves? That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. If you keep shooting on the target and they're getting save after save after save, it's time to take them out. And that's just from the side of MSU. You're looking at the side of KSU. Don't get me wrong, you got the dub, but I would not rely so much on the 19 save count to continue. Like, don't get me wrong, that play style, it worked just now, but that is a dangerous play style to work with. And I'm saying that as someone who frequently uses that play style.
24 shots to 9 shots. 19 saves against those 24 total shots. And you could tell Volt was trying to just come up with something different. But like you mentioned, after 6 minutes of overtime play, things start to just feel like you've been there, done that way too often before. But you know what's different right now? We've got 5 fresh minutes on the clock for both these teams to play. Montana State, they want to get this one done. Same thing for Kansas State. Let's see if they can force a game 7.
Well, let's see. Here we are back at it again. Vault now going to be taking possession, going up high. Can't get past a defender. Out towards the corner, you can see Vixen now trying to work with a good bit of boost, but they get denied. Vault now from out of the corner simply can't get the touch, and seems like MSU are having the same problems to start things out here in game 6.
They're multi-layering their offensive attack, which I like. But just like you had talked about, they're not utilizing more than one player to get rid of a threat. They're simply using them for another shot count. Now, if they can do that very quickly, might be able to work out. But they're trying to disguise some of these kind of layered just plays overall. Kansas State is not at all fooled. And Montana State, oh, that one's just going to be a drop to the corner instead. They were looking for a quick whiplash type of 1-2 shot, but now Kansas State is going to be under fire.
And now looking a little bit dangerous there, as luckily for KSU, they were able to find the save before Andrew could get there first. Now that was dangerous. Volt, they went for the commit, they started moving forward, and then they 180'd and turned back. If you're going to go for the ball, in my opinion, you have got to commit, because you are still, even with that 180 turn, you are not going to make it back in time. I think MSU, they got really lucky that, you know, they were able to transition fairly quickly in order to get back on defense. But my goodness, that one made me nervous for MSU.
Yeah, that one, that's a transition of space, recognizing that, you know, you've been able to trick your opponent a couple of times, so you're playing from a very distance fake. But yeah, if you don't do that timely, it's going to be rough. Volt has to collect that one. It doesn't get credited with the save. I think it might have been able to bend the post. Wow! Now that one gets one, as Andrew, from within the center of the goal line, sees a screamer coming at him, and they kick it right back out. And we're somehow already more than 2 minutes into game number 6. We're just at 0s apiece.
Yeah, I was about to say, time flies in Rocket League when you don't score. I mean, that's pretty much the long and short of it, right? I mean, the only time the clock stops is when you score a goal. So if both teams aren't scoring goals, guess what? The game's going to fly right on by until you go into overtime, because then, you know, that clock's just going to keep ticking upward. So it really doesn't matter then. But here we are, half a regulation gone, and like you had mentioned, still 2 big old buttery bagels on the board.
Give me some extra cream cheese with that as well, and it's going to be a nice little late night snack. More than halfway. Kansas State seeing some of their players getting demoed away, and the physical play may be the very different variable to account for. Oh, they get one dropped in, and Volt gets it off the hood of a defender. They came up high after all the chaos that was right in the middle of the box.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad for the defenders on that one, just because, again, you have these constant backboard touches. So you're constantly jumping up, right, to read the backboard defense, to defend the backboard. So you're constantly jumping up over and over and over again. And then you leave an opening. And who else but Volt there to capitalize?
Unfortunate. You know, when it rains, it pours. And when they are able to open the door, they score. A nice follow. Volt committing completely from that kickoff to get the Bears a couple in a very quick succession. So Kansas State finding it difficult to score. Got to do so now in a 2-goal hole with only 2 minutes remaining.
Giro looking to get possession. As you can see, KSU once again being held at that midfield line as Volt able to find an opening, gets a bounce, looks for the swish and flick, not going to be good enough, and a beautiful save by Giro to keep that one out and keep this game close.
Giro's going to be up underneath it. Can they find something? A redirect from a teammate? No, nothing doing, but another attempt off angle. Vixen comes in live and loud, cuts the lead.
Yeah, honestly, this one was 100% shot placement here. I mean, Vixen literally just put that in the perfect spot. There's really no other place I think you put that and it doesn't get saved. Because again, you had one player that was going off from the back of the goal. You had one player playing near post. Your only option is to put that low into far post. So again, that was just perfect shot placement from Vixen.
And I'm going to see some of these passes by Giro that really gets Kansas State in great positions. And I feel like they were nearly on the same quarter there. Just a moment ago, flip reset, trying to be able to get another one. They go for the bump! Oh, what a play! 2-2. I said it would be difficult in a 2-goal hole, but look how quickly they make up for it.
Yeah, and there we go. Now we're seeing some of that physical play. And you know what? That was honestly they gave Kunz just a little bit too much space there to work with. Again, once you see them closing that gap, you got to get out of the net. You can't wait for them to come to you because they will go to you and they will bump you out of the net. And that's exactly what happened. Now we got ourselves a tie ball game again with just over a minute left to go. And I don't know, Monkey Man. I mean, if this keeps going this way, we might see yet another 6-minute OT.
It was the exact same scoreline, I think, as well. But with the way that Kansas State has been scoring recently, the Bears are on the ropes. They had themselves a 3-1 series lead, and now they're seeing it decimated right in front of their eyes. Not committing, recognizing that third zone is open. Spicy's going to try and pancake this. They will send Volt instead, and that step backwards by the Wildcats may be their undoing.
Now, you see, I guess my math is, I don't know why I thought this was a hat trick from Volt. I just feel like they've been scoring such a good bit, but my goodness, I got to tell you, Spicy has been quite the playmaker. Granted, last game, I want to say that it was actually Andrew who ended up getting the playmaker medal, but, you know, I feel like I'm seeing Spicy with a lot of goal participation. Speaking of, I mean, Kunj, they're coming through with quite the amount of goal participation themselves.
I mean, just one extra from the kickoff, making sure to not leave it any doubt and leave anyone for Montana State to have a touch. 3-3. It took a while to get the Bagels off of the board, but as soon as we did, we started scoring in bunches, 6 goals very rapidly. One last one in regulation could do it either for the series or to get us to game number 7. Kansas State looming, lurking, possibly finding a chance, but no one there to profit from everyone out of boost.
Only 10 seconds remaining here. The pressure is on. Volt able to come out, but this is a big demo. This can open things up for KSU as now they go off the backboard and Andrew spawns in the worst possible place. They spawn right in the face of their own teammates. Luckily, they were able to get a touch on the ball, but now Volt with the shot and the save from Giro. The ball is somehow still alive.
Trying to be able to get it up and down this pitch. We had one massive save that's going to end up going to the grass so unceremoniously, but Volt could have ruined it. Just taken the entire Kansas State just program and thrown them around, and instead we go into another overtime. It felt like we were here forever with 6 minutes and 11 seconds to get us to game number 6 in the first place, and now Kansas State needs to win it in OT just to force the entire rest of this game 7.
Well, let's see how this one will end. Will we see another 6 minutes here in extra time? Or will this one end a little bit sooner? You see Andrew now off the side wall, gonna get beat out, but Volt thought maybe they were looking for Spicy, but I guess Spicy opted out for the demo, leaving the ball, and now possession will go the other way until Andrew is there to recover.
A nice challenge into Andrew's possession. Look at the dive. I love that right there. Trying to key up a player from Kansas State get the offense cycling. Now you see Vixen all the way in that opposite side corner. They're going to be made to bite. Volt with a freebie, upper side corner, and yet it's not free. What a save. No extra aptitude to bring another guy through. Volt will find that midfield boost, but the defense has been answering. They had, what, 19 saves in the previous game? They're going to have that and more.
That had to be the best defensive read I think I've seen all night, but it doesn't matter. Andrew comes away to finally put the game to bed, as it will be MSU to get the dub in Game 6 in OT.
Montana State finally getting their first series win on the board from a very feisty and just unyielding Kansas State. That defense was unable to stand the test of time, but the Bears were able to just keep running it down. Volt really standing out to me as one of those key players that really got them there, but Andrew and Spicy not at all lacking in that department, and really kind of shows that there's a depth of pedigree and caliber that goes to this overall Division II for NECC, because both these teams looked very good. Sometimes things were lacking and awkward for the side of Kansas State and Montana as well, but ultimately someone had to be able to come away with the win. So congratulations to the Bears. Big thoughts. They finally got a dub. They did it.
Well, there you go. I mean, now your season's looking a little better right about now, isn't it? I mean, you're going into this, you know, both teams really need to get a dub on the board, and it was a struggle, to be completely honest. I mean, MSU, they definitely, you know, came out and they were performing fairly well, but they definitely tripped over themselves quite a few times. And quite honestly, I didn't see them winning that second overtime, because keep in mind, you know, the first OT, if I'm not mistaken, you know, went to their opponents, right? So with that being said, I'm thinking that Kansas State should be able to find another overtime win because they got the first one. And that is if my memory serves me correctly. You know, my memory has been receding faster than my hairline. So again, who knows? But with that being said, you know, MSU at the end of the day, they were able to correct upon the mistakes and adjust their gameplay. The only thing for MSU I would advise going forward, bring a little bit more physical play. Because again, I still can't get over the 19 saves. 24 shots, 19 saves. At some point, you have to get them out of the net. So that's my only tidbit, and far be it from me to give advice to anybody, but 19 saves, there's something not right there.
That's a lot of saves. That's a lot of players standing in the way. But all credit to both teams. Obviously, it's been a rough season for both, but they've been able to fight it out. And you know, poor Wildcats are going to still go lumen and lurking, hoping for a W down the line, because Week 5 now comes to a close here for Rocket League with NECC, and a lot of the other titles they've been able to see everything from Monday now all the way here to this just wonderful Thursday. And of course, we want to thank you guys for being with us tonight. We got to have a 3 set of awesome matches. Some of them were a bit lopsided, but I think we ended up with some bangers down the way. It was the Condors that fell to St. Clair Saints Gold in that Division 2 matchup. Maryville that was able to rise over St. Clair Saints Green, beating them 4-2. And then obviously you just saw Montana State getting their first win on the board for the season over Kansas State. Thank you so much to our awesome producer in Chippy that was able to do a lot of the awesome work that you see with all the graphics and all of course, the presentation with you guys. And of course, thank you, Captain Ahsoka, for joining me tonight. Are you wearing those masks out for Halloween? Do you have even more that you're gonna wear? Maybe.
Yeah, I got wigs too. Like I got a lot of stuff. You know, I love Halloween. It's my favorite holiday. So yeah, no, it's not just a day for me. It's the whole month. So yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good to go.
Okay, well, in case you guys see any of those masks, maybe ask if it's at Soka or otherwise. But
or
make
run
sure
the other way.
Yeah, or yeah, just if you see the knife coming out, go, just run. But for all intents and purposes, I'm Hell Monkey Man. This is Captain Ahsoka. You guys have yourself a spooky Halloween. We'll see you next Thursday for it. But otherwise, we'll see you next time.
What exactly is a meat substitute or plant-based jerky? Call me a meathead, but when I want a meat snack, I want real meat. The kind you find at Wenzel's Farm, and the only kind they use. Handcrafted in small batches and naturally hardwood smoked right here in the heartland of America. Wenzel's Farm offers 14 flavors of mouth-watering protein-packed power in a stick, except no substitute. Wenzel's Farm, real meat for real life.
Oh man, this is incredible.
Wow.
Huh?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Hey man, grab me a meat stick. I think I can reach it if I just a little more. Just let me go a little. I can't.